Cole Croft, age 17, of Woodstock.
The Georgia DNR's Mark McKinnon says they're actively performing grid searches using sonar.
Our ultimate goal at this moment in time is to locate this young man and to help this family have some closure.
And he says searching lakes like Allatoona can be extremely difficult because of underwater timber. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
All right, your weather for today. Sunny skies through the afternoon, then storms arrive after sunset. Afternoon highs around 88. Will the rain and storms mess up your weekend plans? WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will have Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast that comes your way at 12:05. Family members of twin brothers found shot to death at Bell Mountain earlier this year, just holding a news conference to address lingering questions surrounding their deaths. The teen's uncle is calling into question the ruling that the deaths were suicide.
For months, officials have ignored our cries, but today we stand before you to say enough. We demand a full investigation, an independent one.
Relatives of Nazir and Kadir Lewis, whose bodies were found with gunshots on Bell Mountain in March, have nagging questions about the GBI ruling that the twins' deaths were a suicide. Investigators say forensic tests showed the 19-year-old brothers had fired a gun and that their internet searches asked about suicide rates and how to load a gun. The family has an online fundraiser saying they've been looking for a private investigator. Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
Crews are working right now to restore a water main break in North DeKalb County. It's knocked out water service to some folks in the area. This is a break. It's a 6-inch line at the intersection of Chamblee-Dunwoody Road and Harris Circle. Nearby resident Bill Reese says he woke up and realized he didn't have any water.
When you want to wash your hands or take a shower, you can't do anything. So I put some clothes on and walked up here to see why we're having this problem again.
He says his neighborhood experiences a main break at least once a year. No word on when that roadway is going to reopen or when the repairs will be finished. A big loss for Peachtree City after an alligator known to many passes away.
Peachtree City is known for its golf cart paths and scenic beauty and wildlife. One popular member of the community was a 14-foot alligator who lived in Flat Creek and inspired a children's book that embraced the spirit of the area.
Called Flat Creek Floyd Knows Golf Cart Safety by Becky Tobias. If there's anything more Peachtree City than that, I don't know what it would be.
Mayor Kim Lerner says Floyd sadly passed away after being hit by a car in the overnight hours. She also shared that despite the masculine name, Floyd was a female gator. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
The feds say 2 men in this country illegally are now in custody, and a third is on the run. After a meth lab bust in Cobb County, DEA agents say that they witnessed one of the suspects passing meth to a customer in Smyrna. They followed that person to a mobile home in Marietta. While they executed a search warrant there, they took 2 suspects into custody. The third man took off. Inside that trailer, they found an active lab with 13 kilos of meth and other materials. They say that weapons were also recovered, including a bag with a loaded pistol in it. That bag was found in a baby's crib. This is new here at noon. The Georgia Department of Public Health just now confirming another case of measles. This is in an unvaccinated family member of a previous case that was picked up outside the country. No new cases of measles have been reported outside the family. This is the 5th reported case of measles here in Georgia this year. Last year, there were 6 reported cases of measles in our state. Renovations began and the close of service today at MARTA's 5 Points station that could impact your commute.
The 5 Points Transformation Project includes station entrance closures at Alabama Street, Broad Street Plaza, and Peachtree Street. Customer services like the reduced fare and ride store will be relocated. Amenities like restrooms will also be closed. Rail service and transfers will operate as scheduled. Downtown bus detours began last month. Cheryl Castro, 95.5 WSB.
All right, if you order something from Walmart, it might arrive by a drone. The retailer is saying that they're going to start drone deliveries at 100 stores across 5 cities, including Atlanta, also in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Orlando, Florida. Drone shipments can take just minutes to arrive at your doorsteps. You would be getting things like fresh fruit, pet food, ice cream, or maybe even eggs. And now jobs. Job creation slowed considerably in May as businesses are grappling with the uncertainty over tariffs after rising by 177,000 in April. Payrolls last month grew by only 139,000. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow right now is up 387 at 42,707. So the Dow's up almost a full percent. Nasdaq's up more than a full percent, and the S&P is up almost a full percent here on your lunch hour. Time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams, how are we doing on the roads?
Not too good if you're trying to head down toward Fairburn. Sherburne via I-85 southbound, Sabrina. Crash cleanup still in 2 right lanes at Highway 74, Sonoya Road, exit number 61. That means using Highway 29 as an alternate. Now up in Norcross, new crash in the center lane and on the right shoulder, 85 southbound, Jimmy Carter Boulevard, exit 99. So all those brake lights that were thinning out of Duluth are back in place. So just be prepared for that. And stall cleared in Cobb, 75 southbound below Delk Road. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Now your 5-day forecast sponsored by Shoemate, the official air conditioning of Atlanta.
Partly cloudy, hot and humid today. High 88. Thunderstorms arrive well after sunset, closer to midnight. Some of these storms tonight may produce damaging wind gusts. Lows tonight in the low 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, high 87. Thunderstorms will arrive between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. Some of the storms may produce damaging wind gusts and large hail through tomorrow evening. Sunday, mostly cloudy with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms, high 83. Monday, mostly cloudy with a pop-up storm, high 85. Tuesday, partly cloudy, high 84.
More news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Okay, friends, it's the 5K a day bonus blitz. The noon keyword is cheer. Enter the keyword into the WSB Radio app or at WSBRadio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 p.m. to enter the keyword, win $1,000, and the keyword is cheer. CHEER, cheer. Don't forget, if you get a phone call after 12:30 from a number you don't recognize, answer it. Could be us telling you you won $1,000. The keyword is cheer. Good luck.
Conversationalists, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. It is an open line Friday. I am glad to have you. Before we can even contemplate phone calls today, we have to get to the fight. I mean, this may be it is Pride Month. It was fitting that we have this fight between the two bros and all the homoeroticism that fell out of the MAGA bros. Why do the MAGA bros go to this? This is how men fight. These two men had their pants pulled down in a measuring. It was kind of gross. Elon Musk and Donald Trump. And I got to say, there is a conspiracy theory already taking hold among those who have got to rationalize this into their existing worldview and can't be shaken from it. And that is that actually this is all a WWE match. It is all for show. So to help Elon Musk get back in good with progressives as he leaves the White House to rehabilitate Tesla. I was actually stunned by some friends of mine who actually were willing to buy into this is all some sort of elaborate conspiracy. This is a plan by Elon Musk and Donald Trump together to do this. The moment the Epstein tweet hit, it was game over. Seriously, so they sat in the Oval Office and they said, okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to blow up your big, beautiful bill and get people to call Congress to stop it. And then I'm going to come out and I'm going to tweet that you're a pedophile on Jeffrey Epstein's list. Oh, that's good. Then I'm going to call Steve Bannon and get him to say that I should deport you and that I should cancel your government contracts and that I should nationalize SpaceX. Yes, that's the ticket. Seriously? I realize there are deluded people who wish to believe these things because their worldview is this can't be. These my bros can't be fighting like this. Yes, they can. The world's most powerful man and the world's richest man are the immovable object colliding with the unstoppable force. It was always going to end this way. Perfectly timed for Pride Month. It is, y'all, of course it was going to happen. Elon Musk is the world's richest man, surrounded by sycophants who tell him that everything he does is great. The other billionaire is the world's most powerful man, surrounded by sycophants who tell him everything is great. The problem here is that this is the Trump show, and Donald Trump is Lucille Ball. If Desi Arnaz didn't know his place and tried to step into it, she's going to put him back in his place. On I Love Lucy, Donald Trump is the man. It is his show. It is the Trump show. And Elon Musk was at best a co-star in a supporting role and decided that he was co-president. And he also has a drug problem. Elon Musk didn't get everything he wanted in the big, beautiful deal. And what the behind-the-scenes story is that he was already burning bridges. I got to tell you, pull back the curtain a little bit on my life. There is more than one Trump cabinet secretary sharing the funny memes that were on social media. One of them sent me a picture from when the guy tried to blow up the Tesla truck in front of the Trump Hotel. It was the burning Tesla truck in front of the Trump Hotel. And the comment was, notice which one's damaged. There was a lot of bad blood between Trump cabinet secretaries and Elon Musk. A lot of bad blood between staff. By the time he left, bridges were being burned. Now, here's the thing. They're going to patch this up. It's what they do. They're going to hug it out. Donald Trump actually called Dana Bash today on CNN before she went on air.
Good morning, John. Well, he said that he's, quote, well, here's exactly what he said, quote, I'm not even thinking about Elon. He's got a problem. The poor guy's got a problem. He said he won't be speaking to him for a while, but he said he wishes Elon Musk well.
I mean, that's the wall back. He also, Donald Trump made the rounds. He called reporters at Politico, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, Fox News, CNN, and all basically saying, I'm not even thinking about the guy. He's got problems. I'm moving on. This is him toning it down. Elon Musk deleted some of his tweets as well, which again says this wasn't some sort of conspiracy theory to rehabilitate Elon Musk. It was a real fight. This is a fight Elon Musk isn't going to win. But the problem here for the GOP is that Donald Trump has 3 more years on the world stage. He's term limited. Doesn't matter what guys like Steve Bannon say and think. Donald Trump is term limited. He will be gone in January 20th, 2028. Elon Musk is around for 30, 40 more years. Do you really want to alienate the world's the world's richest man who owns the most powerful conversation starter on planet Earth, Twitter? Ask Grok. It was very interesting. There's a Doge account, Doge AI. It's an AI account that analyzes things from the Doge perspective, and it has turned hostile to the big, beautiful bill. There are odds that when the bill is signed, Elon Musk will be at the White House for it, at glad handing Donald Trump. It wouldn't surprise me. They're going to fix this. They're going to get back together. They have too many aligned interests to have a complete falling apart. They hate the same people. They're too aligned. This is Peter Doocy on Fox News this morning.
Scheduled to call Friday with the billionaire CEO of Tesla to broker a peace. President Trump talking about this doesn't sound mad, but he does sound disappointed.
Yeah, it doesn't sound mad. Does sound disappointed. There's probably going to be a peace offering between the two of them. This is from Stuart Varney this morning.
Late-night so-called comedians had a grand old time, and the media are delighted to see the 2 men they hate most go at it in public. Okay, just hold on a minute, please. They may be having fun with the insults, but think this through. This may be good for Trump's big, beautiful bill. Republicans are rallying around Trump, not Musk. Elon was never that popular with politicians. He trod on their toes. It's hard to see the United States Senate killing the bill because Musk doesn't like it. Some more spending cuts may be added, and that makes passage of the bill more likely. The bottom line for the market and the economy is this: pass the bill, cut taxes, grow the economy. That's what Trump was elected for. Hard to see the Republican Party siding with a tantrum-prone, mega-rich genius who was elected by nobody.
He's right. More Republicans have come out and said, yeah, the bill does have flaws. Elon Musk is right, but I'm going to vote for it because it's the best we can get done. That in and of itself does help Donald Trump. He was the guy who was elected. There has been wobbling within the world of MAGA, but, there are always those within who didn't. Steve Bannon, for example, hates Elon Musk. There are those in the White House close to Steve Bannon who have hated Elon Musk. They're seizing the opportunity here. There's a large problem, though. So you've now got the world's richest man squabbling with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump has already alienated Leonard Leo, who has over $1 billion. And let's be clear here, this isn't really Donald Trump. These are the people around Donald Trump whispering in Donald Trump's ears, poisoning the well. Elon Musk did have the temper tantrum. I mean, I've got people who are mad at me for saying that Elon Musk started. Why are you taking Trump's side? Because Elon Musk started it. It wasn't Donald Trump who went on social media and started attacking the bill. It was Elon Musk. It's just, it's remarkable. Elon Musk tried to sabotage the bill. And by the way, you should know, we've already got people calling into the show saying, no, you're wrong. This really was a plot. This was all staged to get heat off Elon. Listen, if you want to rationalize it that way, that's fine, but I tend to take people at their word, and the people in the White House that I've talked to, the cabinet secretaries I've talked to, people behind the scenes, that this was a real squabbling. Elon feels burned by his time in the White House. He's a smart man who can land rockets backwards and build battery-powered cars, but he couldn't break through the Byzantine efforts of Washington. He got frustrated. The president and his team were frustrated with Musk. Elon Musk got to the point where he looked like he wanted to be co-president. Donald Trump is not going to share the stage with him. Believe what you want to believe. I'm just going to tell you what I know based on my conversations. I'm not here to absolve you of your conspiracy theories, to try to rationalize a world in which the two guys you thought were best buds remained best buds when they played out. I would have been willing to do it had he not gone with the Epstein stuff and then started calling for the impeachment of the president, among other things, or Donald Trump pulling back on Tesla and SpaceX contracts, or the shareholder value of Tesla yesterday. But believe what you want to believe. I'm not here to affirm your belief. I'm here to tell you the truth. It was a real fight between the two. And Musk did start it. Donald Trump did not start it. Musk was very frustrated because he felt like he had given up a lot to go to Washington to get things done, to make things happen, to cut stuff, and then the president's team wouldn't even send up his full rescission package. He found $175 billion to cut. They only sent up $9 billion in rescission cuts. That frustrated him. They cut a lot of the subsidies that Elon Musk had supported in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. That's not the EV stuff, the solar panel stuff. They also added in spending and the SALT deductions that Musk thought were nonsensical, and he couldn't understand it, but they had to do it to be able to get it passed. That frustrated him. Interestingly enough, Politico and the Washington Post separately called Republican members of Congress, and very few of them have gotten any calls complaining about the bill. Most people actually do understand this is the best they're going to be able to do. The Senate will tweak it a little further. The Senate will improve it a little bit more, but there's not a whole lot that can be done. This is Senator Tuberville from Alabama.
Was going to drive up the debt. I mean, all you got to do is look at the numbers. The big, beautiful bill is big. Not a lot of it is beautiful. Some of it's beautiful. But again, when you mix it all together, it just makes it that much harder.
He's right. He's right. They're going to get over this. And you know what's going to happen is eventually Elon Musk will go back to the White House, so glad-handed, and all the people who are convinced this is a WWE effort will be like, see, I told you it was all a stunt. Well, then why are they back together? That's going to hurt him again. They're going to have another fallout. But let's not hold accountable the people who believe these things. Let's just take it for what it is. It was a public spat. It was a lover's quarrel. They'll get over it. It's what some men do. But I got to tell you, the homoeroticism of the MAGA guys, it's just kind of creepy. Let me read for you some of these tweets. This is one of the guys. Trump and Elon aren't attacking one another in a way that won't be fixed. People forget how men with testicles spar. You're watching two people with testicles the size of the moon debate an issue. This is what masculinity looks like. Here's another one. Some of y'all can't handle two high agency males going at it, and it really shows. This is direct communication, phallocentric, versus indirect communication, gynocentric. I understand you aren't used to it. The weird homoerotic fixation on body parts to explain what happened. It's like Ellen before she came out of the closet on her show in '97. These guys are just latently celebrating Pride Month. It's just weird, creepy stuff. One more thing you got to take with this Elon Musk-Donald Trump fight. The divisions within the White House are probably going to remain and get amplified because while there's a real, like the cabinet secretaries, I mean, I'm texting cabinet secretaries yesterday. They're sending me funny memes. One of my favorite was one of them sent me was, it's a real shame Joe Biden didn't live long enough to see this. There are real divisions within the White House between the protectionists and the libertarian front. Elon Musk represents the techno-libertarians, the deregulators, the cut tax guys, the jobs and economies guys. You've got the Howard Lutnicks of the world, the Peter Navarros of the world who don't like Elon Musk, who are protectionists. They want tariffs. You've got Scott Bessent, who is ideologically aligned with Elon Musk, but they don't get along at all because Elon tried to run roughshod over him in the Treasury Department. These fights are going to play out. The way the media is going to cover them, though, is that they're going to be all sorts of division, dissension, and discord. But what they're going to miss is that this is how Donald Trump thrives. Donald Trump actually likes the division and the discord. He likes the fighting. He believes the fighting and the division bring clarity and synthesis to allow him to act. So I would be very cautious and careful of reading way too much into this long term, because at the end of the day, you do have two men whose interests align more than they don't. They kind of do need each other to advance both of their missions, and the GOP can't afford to alienate the world's richest man.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1220, Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Better news in Norcross. Crash all off to the right now. 85 southbound, Jimmy Carter Boulevard, exit 99. Still slow, though, leaving Highway 316 in Duluth. That should start to improve. Travel advisory remains in Fairburn with the crash. 85 southbound, Highway 74, Sonoya Road, exit 61. 2 right lanes are blocked there. Use Highway 29. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies, offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Okay, friends, it's the 5K a day bonus blitz. The noon keyword is cheer. Enter the keyword into the WSB Radio app or at WSBradio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 p.m. to enter the keyword, win $1,000, and the keyword is cheer. CHEER, cheer. Don't forget, if you get a phone call after 12:30 from a number you don't recognize, answer it. Could be us telling you you want $1,000. The keyword is cheer. Good luck.
The Love Your Home Minute from TE Certified. Hi, it's Chris Chandler with Josh, the local owner of TE Certified Electrical, Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. You know, Josh, that's him you see jumping out of the back of their trucks. So what's an electrical upgrade that has made you love your home even more?
Oh, the outlets by my nightstand. So this might seem like a really small thing, but I absolutely love it. When we first moved into the house, this is one of the first things I had the electrical team come out to the house to do. They put in new outlets right next to my wife and I's bedstand. And of course, they put the ones that had the USB ports in them. So now I don't have to worry about my charger, my laptop, my phone. And we do this all the time for people who want power somewhere, but they don't want to look at a cord. So this is soffits, this is garages, offices. We do this for TVs, clocks. Basically, somewhere you want power, you wish you had it, but you don't, we can make it happen.
People will think it sounds like a lot of trouble or hassle.
It can be, but not for a TE certified electrician.
TE certified, we love your home.
You've probably heard that constipation and IBS can all be related to a lack of fiber in your diet. Hi, it's Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. If you or someone you know suffers from constipation or IBS, let the Bread Beckers show you the way to more fiber and regularity and to better health without swallowing a pill or a bad-tasting drink. At the Bread Becker store in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real, delicious bread loaded with fiber from real whole grains. A healthy, affordable, and delicious solution for your family that can change your life. This is not like the enriched bread you buy at the grocery store. It's real bread. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of whole grains and real bread. So if you're struggling with bowel issues, high cholesterol, warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, take the first steps to a healthier life. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
This is Scott Slade, updating my health story. I get a checkup every year, and last September, my primary care physician was troubled by a suspicious number on my lab work. Well, that led to a diagnosis early enough to give me options, and I'm more optimistic than ever about a good outcome. Now, when we're talking about our health, level with your providers. If you think you have a problem, we all need expert eyes looking us over every so often. That's where virtual imaging can be invaluable. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can give you time and options for early treatment, especially for cancer. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is extending their core body scan offer for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response, they've opened up more times in both offices. But appointments will fill up fast for this offer, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com. That's virtualimagingatl.com. Do it now while you still have options.
It's your money. Get it sooner. All you need is direct deposit with a checking or savings account at Coosa Valley Credit Union. This is Andy Harris, president of Coosa Valley Credit Union. Not only can you get your money sooner, but we believe in kinder banking where you deal with real people in person. So come see us.
That spot on the ceiling, it's only gonna get worse. Hey, it's Dave Baker from my experts at Findlay Roofing, the roof guys. Findlay now has 0% financing available, so it's even easier to get your roof replaced. FindlayRoofing.com.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Complicated and making it simple. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson. It is an open line Friday. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be absolutely delighted to have you on the show today. We got a lot more, including the economic news, that we've got to cover today. There is so much out there that, it's interestingly, overwhelmingly, we got a lot. We got a lot. We'll get to phone calls when we come back because this is a short segment. But I do want to tell you that I got a real problem with the way Steve Bannon is a Stalin-esque Mussolini type. He believes that Donald Trump could just steamroll into a third term. He doesn't care about the Constitution or constitutional order, and he likes to make you think the left doesn't care about it and isn't bound to it, even though they are bound to it, whether they like it or not. He is urging Donald Trump to deport Elon Musk and take over SpaceX. When your first impulse is grab the guy's company and take it over by the government, that is a rather nationalistic impulse that I think we probably shouldn't encourage. It is a fascistic impulse that we shouldn't encourage. It's just bad. He's kind of the clown prince of insanity within this White House, and there are those who love him and listen to him and go on his program, but I would be cautious of a man who believes that constitutional norms don't apply and wants you to believe you're a victim all the time and that you're in some sort of existential fight with left. Y'all, I've read the end of the book, and I think that Steve Bannon needs him a little more Jesus than he claims to have, frankly. Just doesn't have a lot of him in him. You can know it by the way he treats other people and behaves. Now, I will move on. We'll take your phone calls on the other side, 877-973-7425. We got to get to the economic numbers, but first I got to tell you about Old Glory Bank, my bank. They can be your bank. They were founded by some great conservatives out in Oklahoma. They came together, John Rich, Larry Elder, Ben Carson, Mary Fallon, and others came together to build a bank that supports your rights and believes in your freedoms and is committed to freedom and is unbeholden to the woke shareholders of America because they bypassed Wall Street and went to Main Street for their funding. They care about you, and they care about fighting the debanking trends in the country. There was the big story the other day that Citibank is announcing they've changed their debanking policy, so you can no longer be debanked for your political opinions. The fact that they had to tell people that is part of the problem. It's never been a problem with Old Glory Bank. If you go to oldglorybank.com/Eric today, you can get an account with Old Glory Bank. oldglorybank.com/Eric. You can get a no-fee checking or no-fee savings. If you're a business, get a business account with them. If you've got kids, you can get a custodial account with them. They're a fantastic bank. They really are my bank and have been for 2 years. I enjoy banking with them. I am effusive with praise for a bank. Think about that. I wanted them to advertise on the program because I wanted you to know about them. They're that good. oldglorybank.com/Eric. You can fill out your account information online. Takes about 5 minutes. oldglorybank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply.
He's
the guy at the desk next to you.
Why do you always go after the game show host of The Price is
He's
Right?
your co-pilot for the ride
Don't
home.
tell me how to handle my life.
Eric Von Hessler.
Or anyone else.
Today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. Rescue teams searching for a 17-year-old missing on Lake Allatoona this afternoon. The Georgia Department of Natural Resources identifying the teen as Jackson Croft from Woodstock. Crews were called to that lake around 5:30 yesterday afternoon. And after they got a report of a boat spinning in circles. Again, search crews are on the lake right now. Check back for updates. Sunny today before showers and storms move in late tonight. Afternoon highs around 88, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Family members of twin brothers found shot to death at Bell Mountain earlier this year, holding a news conference today to address lingering questions they have surrounding the boys' deaths. The teen's uncle wants an independent investigation.
The release of all evidence and arrest for those responsible.
Now, the brothers were found shot to death on that mountaintop. Investigators say the two brothers had searched the internet about information on suicide and how to load a gun. Investigators also say forensics showed the 19-year-olds had fired a gun. All right, if you live in Peachtree City, then you probably know about Flat Creek Floyd. The city's famous alligator, Floyd, has died after being hit by a car. Floyd made headlines a couple of years ago when police warned folks to stop trying to take selfies with the alligator. Every few years, Floyd would pop up on the banks of Flat Creek. Floyd's reputation was so good in the county, in fact, that the gator inspired a band to be named after it and a children's book. And now the latest on the feud between President Trump and Elon Musk. Here's ABC's Karen Travers.
The president said that Musk was interested in talking to him, but he is not ready for that. Musk and the president seem to sort of wear themselves out and stopped posting these messages back and forth. But this is a really significant break, given that it was just 1 week ago when they were in the Oval Office together. The president said that Elon wasn't actually leaving, that he could come back and continue the work of Doge. But then yesterday, the president said Elon had worn thin and that he had actually asked him to leave.
All right, it is 12:32.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Check out this amazing deal on Kellogg's cereal. Select varieties or buy 2 get 3 free with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
What if your home had everything? Fitness, fun, and total relaxation all in one place. A Bullfrog Swim Spa from Brown's Pools and Spas is the ultimate backyard upgrade. Swim or soak, warm or cool, all year round. Plenty of space to exercise, play, and of course relax without taking up the entire backyard. Right now, get financing for 120 months, an instant rebate up to $2,500, and a free zero-gravity swim spa hammock. Hurry, sale ends June 16th. BrownsPools.com.
At Shane Company, we know getting engaged is a big decision. But once you know, you know. That's the way our customers feel when they choose a Shane Company engagement ring. They walk into a warm welcome and walk out with their dream ring, knowing they got it right. For almost 100 years, we've been offering personalized shopping experiences. And we're in it way past the honeymoon, with a free lifetime warranty that includes the center stone, cleanings, repairs, and resizing for life. Shop with us at shaneco.com or at your neighborhood store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
All right, Alex Williams, how are we doing on the roads?
Temporary red alert downtown. All lanes shut down. 75-85 northbound at Langford Parkway. Trying to clear this overturned box truck crash. Think about Metropolitan Parkway or Highway 29 as some alternates. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today. High 88. Watching for thunderstorms to develop closer to midnight.
We'll have more news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
This is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. It is an open line Friday. We have good economic news. The government says that the jobs numbers came in higher than expected. There's some underlying problematic data we'll get to, but before I get to that, I want to take these phone calls. First, let's begin with Michael. Welcome to the show, Michael. How are you? Michael, you there? Michael? All right. Putting Michael back on hold while I go to Tom. Welcome, Tom. How are you?
I am well. How are you, Eric?
Great. What's going on?
Well, I just think it's funny. I mean, he kept being told by the left and by the media about President Musk, and it doesn't seem like he's president anymore. And I find it odd that we were led astray by the left again and by the media about how much power Musk, controlled over President Trump.
Well, it was actually a coup. They just haven't figured it out yesterday. It was the President Musk was booted out of office by the usurper Donald Trump. Yeah, you're right. Listen, in December, January, they start trying to get under Trump's skin, saying it's President Musk. It's President Musk. And Trump never took the bait. He never took the bait. And if everyone is honest about it, what happened was Elon Musk's temper tantrum online. And now today, Trump's like, I'm not thinking about him. He's a good guy who's got issues. And here's the other thing that I think people miss, Tom. On a serious note, and I appreciate the point you made. On a very serious note, Donald Trump had a brother who was an alcoholic, had serious dependency issues. That's why Trump doesn't drink. And I suspect there is a level of empathy and sympathy that Trump has for addicts. And Elon Musk, by accounts, you can say I don't believe it because the New York Times. There are plenty of people in Elon Musk's orbit who say he has dependency problems and he probably needs help and he's not getting help. His board at Tesla has been concerned, and at SpaceX, private investors have been concerned. Friends of the White House have been concerned. He had what appears to almost be a manic attack yesterday, and that's just the reality. It's a problem, and he does need some help, and it was he who had the meltdown, not Donald Trump. Now, let's get into the economic news because it's good news on the surface. You got to say payroll increase. It was 139,000 jobs, more than expected. Employment has held at 4.2%. This is from CNBC. Hiring decreased slightly in May, even as consumers and companies braced against tariffs and a potentially slowing economy. Non-farm payrolls rose 139,000 for the month, above the muted Dow Jones estimate of 125,000. No. I want you to pay attention to this because this gets to a point I made the other day. We have private sector data and public sector data. The private sector data and the public sector data can be used to corroborate each other. We're one of the very few countries that does this. So for everyone who says, the government's rigging data, remember when the Biden administration was in charge, it was the Republicans saying the government's rigging the data. Now the Democrats saying, Trump's inflating the data. Well, we actually have private sector data, and the Dow Jones data was expecting 125,000 jobs. We actually, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, got 139,000 jobs. There is a downward revision, however, from April. April actually came in less than what was originally announced, and yet they fixed it. Unemployment held steady at 4.2%. Worker pay grew more than expected, with average hourly earnings up 0.4% and 3.9% from a year ago, outpacing inflation again. Nearly half the jobs came from healthcare, which added 62,000, even higher than the average of 44,000 over the last year. Leisure and hospitality contributed 48,000, while social assistance added 16,000. Now, here's the thing. We got these robust private sector numbers even as the government lost 22,000 jobs. That's really good. The April numbers were revised lower by 30,000. March's numbers were revised lower by 65,000, but it's still good. There are also disparities between the establishment survey, which is used to generate the headline payroll numbers, and the household survey, which is used for the unemployment rate. The latter count, generally more volatile, showed a decrease of 696,000 workers. Full-time workers declined 623,000, while part-time rose by 33,000. Now, what does all this mean? It means a couple of things. The economy is still good and avoiding a recession. You want the data that's going to blow your mind? 100% of the jobs came from American citizens. The foreign labor number declined. The citizen job number went up. One of the troubling bits of economic data here that's causing some pause is that the economy did lose about 625,000 people in the labor force. We've got to figure out who those people are. Here's my suspicion. Those are non-American citizens, some of whom either self-deported or were deported. That's my guess. Big decline in the labor force. People just suddenly up and left. My guess is it's self-deportation, deportations. The number of American citizens getting jobs in this country actually went up for the first time significantly in quite a while. Americans going back to work, foreign-born people leaving. Those are good numbers for Americans. People participating in the workforce shrank. That's a warning sign. The other warning signs are that employers are now being slow to hire. People are hopping jobs a little bit more than they were, feeling a little more comfortable with opportunities, but employers are now starting to slow their hiring. And this is the problem. So what did I tell you would happen? We'd get a sugar high from tariffs, then we get the sugar crash. We're in the sugar high mode. Now, maybe I'm wrong, and if I'm wrong, give me 3-4 more months, I'll tell you. But my suspicion is that we're seeing the sugar high. Remember the GDP numbers. We had a massive influx of imports in the first quarter. That massive influx of imports actually showed a gross domestic product decrease. It showed the economy shrinking because there was a massive import of products that people weren't buying. And then we saw this massive roar in the second quarter so far of growth because the imports had now stopped and people were buying those things that had come in to hold, to take care of the tariffs. And only now are we starting to see companies raising prices. The Atlanta Fed said there's robust economic growth, and Trump supporters bragged about the Atlanta growth numbers. Well, they missed the underlying sentiment from what the Atlanta Fed said is that a lot of the growth was because a lot of stuff that was brought in and held in storage is now being released into the economy to keep prices as low as possible before they're raised. The New York Fed came out same day the other day and said 60-some-odd% of businesses have now increased prices, and that the other 30% are expected, 30 to 40% of businesses that are affected by tariffs are expected to begin increasing prices. Walmart has raised prices across the board to avoid having to raise prices significantly on the goods that are being tariffed. So that's going to start flowing into the economy in the next month or two. Maybe we'll get out of recession. Maybe we'll get out of it. The problem is this boxes the Federal Reserve in too. That's the other problem here. The Federal Reserve, if the economy looked like it was slowing down, would cut interest rates. But the economy looks like it's doing good. There's no desire to cut interest rates because they don't want to provoke inflation. They still want to get inflation down. We're in a good spot. We've got a more economically competent president. People have greater faith in this president's ability to manage the economy than in the last president's ability. You got to be mindful of the underlying signals that there are problems, but we also shouldn't dismiss the fact that we're in a good place right now economically. If we get resolution on the trade deals, will probably be even more economically robust. If we can get resolution on the trade deals and only have to deal with China, we'll be more robust. If we get this bill passed in Congress that keeps taxes low, that will give businesses some ability to plan for the future, that will give them economic incentive to invest in the country. Remember, one of the pieces of the package is to incentivize private sector investment. That will happen if the bill passes. We'll have a good economy. We'll have an economy strong enough to weather the storms of the increases of the tariffs. And we make it out of a recession. And if we do, I think the GOP gets rewarded next year. Remember, we just came through 4 years of bad economic stewardship where they tried to gaslight us that everything was good. Actually, things have turned around now. There are warning signs in the economic data. There are warning signs. I've highlighted them more. Don't be mad at me highlighting the warning signs, but let's take the superficial surface numbers. They're good right now. Spencer, going to go to you. Welcome to the show, Spencer. How are you?
Eric, hope you're having a good Friday. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
So by now, I'm sure that you've heard about Hakeem Jeffries vowing to release the identity of all these ICE agents that have their face covered. Yeah, so my question is in two parts. First, what's going to happen if he does that and then another loser like the one that took a shot at Trump goes after one of these agents because they know who they are because of him? And second, if that happens, can Pam Bondi or the DOJ charge him with anything for like endangering the lives of federal agents? I mean, is there anything there from a legal perspective?
He can't because he said it in Congress, and because of the speech and debate clause, he was inside the Capitol at a press conference when he said it. He's going to be protected by the speech and debate clause. There's nothing they can do. But it is something I think the right's going to have to elevate. If ICE agents are killed because of what Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats do, it's just another sign of how out to lunch these guys are. In fact, Spencer, let me play you this audio. This happened last night. I abhor playing audio from the Abby Phillips show on CNN. I don't like to give it attention. I just don't think it's worth giving a lot of attention to, but I do think that this has got to be highlighted. This is a CNN Democratic pundit referring to illegal aliens as undocumented citizens.
Are you for it or not? Can I start my logic train? Are you for it or not? My logic train starts with the fact that I don't want to kick 11 million people off. Do you want the illegal aliens on or not? Do I want first of all, do I want undocumented citizens to have health care? Yes. The answer is yes.
Undocumented citizens. This is how far off these guys are getting. Undocumented citizens now. By the way, much of the media is moving to unauthorized immigrants. These people are out to lunch. The entirety of this exchange here. Just let me play you some of this exchange that happened last night, because it wasn't just Bakari Sellers on CNN. It was also a Democratic candidate for Congress.
Everyone deserves health care.
Even illegals?
Every single person in the world deserves
Just for the
health
record,
care.
as a candidate, you're for illegal aliens getting Medicaid.
I think everyone in the world deserves
That's a
health
yes.
care.
That's a yes. That's a yes. By the way, Abby Phillips goes on to try to grill Scott Jennings. If an illegal alien goes to the hospital, who pays for it? He says taxpayers. Doesn't make it right. That's part of the problem. It's taxing social services. So you've got a Democratic candidate who says illegal aliens deserve government-funded health care. You've got a Democratic strategist who calls them undocumented citizens. This is where the Democratic Party is. You start gunning down ICE agents exposed by Democrats. Yeah, this becomes a huge problem for the Democrats. They are siding with the radicals. They are siding too much with the far left. And it's not going to help them. You know, American for Prosperity is highlighting common sense conservative reforms around the country and also the extremism of Democrats. They would love to have you involved. If you go to protectprosperity.com today, you can get involved with American for Prosperity advancing common sense conservative reforms, including the president's tax plan. All you got to do is go to protectprosperity.com. They will plug you into a network of activists around the country who are deeply informed about policy positions from the right and the left and why conservatives have the common sense solutions to win. They will plug you into an activist community that knows how to go to neighbors and explain common sense conservative reform, or even to state, local, or federal legislatures. They will allow you, make it easy for you to reach out to your senators to tell them to pass common sense reforms in the Senate related to taxes. They'll get you involved in amplifying your voice to do the right thing on the president's tax agenda. All you have to do is go to protectprosperity.com. Protectprosperity.com. The website was set up by Americans for Prosperity to make it easy for you to get engaged wherever you are in the United States to advance it. Now, say you've got 2 Democratic senators, it doesn't matter. They keep track of you. They keep track of their constituents' concerns. So even if you've got 2 Democrats in the Senate, go to protectprosperity.com and still get involved, still get engaged, still have your voice heard to advance common sense conservative solutions.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Erick Erickson Show.
1250 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Still watching this crash cleanup heading up through downtown, 7585 northbound, Highway 166, Langford Parkway, in and out of a right lane. That's why you're seeing brake lights on 75 and 85 coming up from Cleveland Avenue. Down in Fairburn, crash cleanup still in the right lane, 85 southbound before Highway 74, Sonoya Road, exit 61. Still seeing some brake lights out of Union City, but you don't need to use Highway 29 anymore. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies, offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Listening to 95.5 WSB pays.
No way!
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
That is awesome.
5 chances a day to win $5,000.
Download the WSB app. Your next chance to win is coming up at 2 p.m.
Oh my God.
From 95.5 WSB.
Going back to college, I have sent my father Omaha Steaks for Father's Day because who doesn't love steak? Dads love steak. A recent survey showed 75% of Americans agree there's no better way than to spend Father's Day than grilling with the family. Dads love to grill. I remember some great memories as a kid of my dad grilling. Now I do. And I get him Omaha Steaks, and you can too. Shop omahasteaks.com and give your dad the legendary Heartland quality he deserves. Plus, my listeners get an extra $35 off when you put Eric in, E-R-I-C-K, as your promo code at checkout. Unbelievable quality from Omaha Steaks. I am a longtime gift giver of Omaha Steaks. My dad loves Omaha Steaks. Your dad will too. Go to omahasteaks.com, load up your cart with deliciousness, get $35 off, minimum order required, when you use promo code ERIC at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com. You'll get an extra $35 off with promo code ERIC at checkout. Your dad will love you for it.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
In 6/22/25, new customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
I'm Brian Parks, head of commercial banking in Atlanta for Ameris Bank. I've been in banking for over 30 years, and my team and I know that businesses have the best results when they work with local bankers who know the Atlanta market. Bankers who will work to understand your business operations and bring good ideas to the table. At Ameris Bank, we do that. I invite you to reach out so we can start a conversation. Visit amerisbank.com/yourbusiness or a local branch near you. Ameris Bank, fiercely yours, member FDIC.
Dave Baker here for Ben Hill Renovations. I know what's important to you when you're looking for a new deck. You want the work done with quality workmanship, on time, within your budget, and built correctly. Getting a new deck from Ben Hill Renovations checks all the boxes. And when it comes to new decks, pretty much anything you can imagine, Ben Hill can do. And they're all backed by the Ben Hill Workmanship Warranty. Swing by the new Ben Hill Renovations showroom in Douglasville and talk to one of their designers. Or see them on the web at bhrenovations.com. Ben Hill Renovations, creating raving fans since 1964.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Your non-stop news source. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Army of activists, and let your voice be heard. Text ARMY to 33777.
Greetings, conversationalists. I got to correct something I said. Thanks to my buddy Derek for pointing it out. Hakeem Jeffries, when he spoke, was at press conference. Speech and debate clause applies to committee and to the floor of the House and Senate. So, yeah, he could actually be legally liable. It's why Nancy Mace, when she keeps going after her ex-boyfriend or ex-fiance and others, only does so on the floor of the House so she can't be sued for defamation. So, yeah, technically could. I don't know that they would pursue it that way. But yeah, thanks to Derek for pointing that out. I misspoke. He was at a press conference, and that does not get covered by the speech and debate clause. This hour of the program brought to you by First Liberty Building and Loan. If you're in the business of business and your business is looking to grow, reach out to First Liberty, firstlibertyga.com. Tell them I sent you, firstlibertyga.com. They might be able to help your business. You need $250,000 more, $75,000 or more for heavy equipment. Let them know. Now, this is going to freak some of you out because it freaks me out. This is from the New York Times. 4 years ago, an unconscious Kentucky man began to awaken as he was about to be removed from life support so his organs could be donated. Even though the man cried, pulled his legs to his chest, and shook his head, officials still tried to move forward. Now, a federal investigation has found that officials at the nonprofit in charge of coordinating organ donations in Kentucky ignored signs of growing alertness not only in that patient, but in dozens of other potential donors. The investigation examined about 350 cases in Kentucky over the past 4 years in which plans to remove organs were ultimately canceled. It found that in 73 instances, officials should have considered stopping sooner because the patients had high or improving levels of consciousness. Although the surgeries didn't happen, the investigation said multiple patients showed signs of pain or distress while being readied for the procedure. Most of the patients eventually died hours or days later, but some recovered enough to leave the hospital. The investigation centered on an increasingly common practice called donation after circulatory death. Unlike most organ donors who are brain dead, patients in these cases have brain function but are on life support and not expected to recover, often in a coma. If a family member agrees to donate, employees of a nonprofit called an organ procurement organization begin testing the patient's organs and lining up transplant surgeons and recipients. Every state has at least one procurement organization, and they often station staff in hospitals. Typically, the patient is taken to an operating room where hospital workers withdraw life support and wait. The organs are considered viable for donation only if the patient dies within an hour or two. Strict rules are supposed to ensure no retrieval begins before death. The investigation criticized Kentucky organ donor affiliates, which coordinated donations in the state, now called Network for Hope after a merger. It has said it always follows the rules and never removes organs until a hospital has declared a patient dead. But the investigation found the organization's employees repeatedly pressured family to authorize donations and improperly took over cases from doctors and tried to push hospital staff to remove life support, even when it wasn't timely to do so. That scares the mess out of me. Trying to encourage death so they can take the organs. That, big federal story, federal investigation. When we come back, D-Day, we've got to talk about it. There's a reason why beyond the anniversary.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. If you're over 50 and tired of your wireless bill getting higher and higher, there are 4 things to consider. 1, how much data are you really using? As we get older, we use less data on our wireless phone, but you're probably still paying for an unlimited plan that was designed for 20-somethings. 2, if you see Get a Phone on Us, Get your sneakers out and run the other way. No one is giving you a free phone. You are paying for that phone over time with an overpriced rate plan and a long-term commitment. 3, check the fine print on that $15 a month plan. It's probably an intro price that'll double or triple later. You might even have to pay for several months of service up front. Number 4, be aware of cable company wireless plans. Most of your usage will be on Wi-Fi instead of 5G, and your calls and battery life could suffer. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide service without the big wireless bill. Our plans start at just $20 a month.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
It pays to have the WSB radio app. Download it today and get ready for the Blitz.
Oh my God.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. 5 chances a day to win $5,000.
It's a Blitz.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 2 p.m.
Oh, that's cool.
From 95.5 WSB.
Download the WSB radio app now.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB. Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1 o'clock at afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Window Nation. Happening now, a search underway on Lake Allatoona this hour for a missing teenager.
This all started when officials noticed an empty boat circling on the lake.
Cherokee Fire arrived first on the scene. They were able to stop the boat and secure it.
The Georgia DNR's Mark McKinnon says officials now believe 17-year-old Jackson Colcroft of Woodstock was the one operating the boat. They've brought in sonar to aid in the search.
When you have a lake like this, the depths are going to vary tremendously, and that makes it more of a challenge, too.
He says they hope to bring closure to the family. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
Enjoy today. Sunny skies with an afternoon high of 88. After the sun goes down, storms arrive later on. Some of them could be severe. We'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up in just a matter of minutes. Family members of twin brothers found shot to death atop Bell Mountain in North Georgia earlier this year are demanding answers. The teenager's uncle is questioning a GBI report ruling the deaths were suicide and wants an independent investigation.
This is not just our fight. It is a test of whether black lives truly matter in this country. We will not rest until justice is served.
Now, the GBI says cell phone, surveillance video, and internet data shows the 19-year-olds were alone in their travels from their Lawrenceville home to Towns County. And they say forensics showed that they had fired a weapon. They'd also researched suicide on the internet. The Georgia Department of Public Health has confirmed another case of measles. This is an unvaccinated family member of a previous case that was picked up outside this country. No new cases of measles have been reported outside the family. This is the 5th reported case of measles in our state this year. In 2024, there were 6 reported cases of measles in Georgia. Folks who use MARTA's 5 Point Station will start to feel the impacts today as renovations are underway.
Station entrances at Alabama Street, Broad Street Plaza, and Peachtree Street will close at the end of service today. The project also includes the relocation of customer services such as reduced fare and the ride store, and the closing of amenities like restrooms. Street-level station and elevator access will continue on Forsyth Street. Rail service and transfers are not impacted and will operate as scheduled. Cheryl Castro, 95.5 WSB.
The May jobs report shows the nation's economy added 139,000 jobs last month. Money reporter Kelly O'Grady says there are still concerns about the health of the economy.
I think overall the headline is, things could be worse. And all of that anxiety, the waiting for the shoe to drop, it hasn't happened yet.
The nation's unemployment rate holding steady at 4.2%. The markets are all in positive territory. It's 102.
Hartsfield-Jackson Airport is making it easier and faster to travel by building more parking spaces on the south side of the domestic terminal. To avoid construction-related traffic, park at ATL West or park ATL Select. They're close and convenient with the latest technology to help your airport parking experience be easy in and easy out. Get more information or make parking reservations at myparkatl.com.
I've found your next go-to service team for Porsche, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Audi. It's Wolf Pen European Auto Repair in Roswell. Honest pricing with certified factory techs who won't run up the tab with repairs you don't need. See the difference when you search Wolf Pen Auto Repair.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. If you're over 50 and tired of your wireless bill getting higher and higher, there are 4 things to consider. 1, how much data are you really using? As we get older, we use less data on our wireless phone, but you're probably still paying for an unlimited plan that was designed for 20-somethings. 2, if you see Get a Phone on Us, Get your sneakers out and run the other way. No one is giving you a free phone. You are paying for that phone over time with an overpriced rate plan and a long-term commitment. 3, check the fine print on that $15 a month plan. It's probably an intro price that'll double or triple later. You might even have to pay for several months of service up front. Number 4, be aware of cable company wireless plans. Most of your usage will be on Wi-Fi instead of 5G, and your calls and battery life could suffer. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide service without the big wireless bill. Our plans start at just $20 a month.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center with a look at your Friday afternoon roads.
Already seeing the Friday afternoon volume into downtown Sabrina. It starts southbound at the 85-400 merge, and the brake light battle continues. Connector southbound down toward North Avenue. Northbound crash still off to the right. You get the flashing lights with it. 75-85 northbound at Langford Parkway. And on the south side, crash cleanup 85 southbound Highway 74, Sonoya Road exit 61. Still in and out of 2 right lanes, keeping you on the brakes, leaving Union City. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 88. Storms arrive late tonight, closer to midnight, lows in the low 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, high 87. Watching for another line of thunderstorms to roll through late tomorrow afternoon into the evening hours. Damaging wind gusts and large hail are the main impacts.
Right now it's 85 degrees in Canton, 86 in Stockbridge. Dallas has 85 degrees. So not a complete washout for the weekend, but any storms that move through may be strong to severe with damaging winds and being the main impacts, according to WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. We'll have more news at 1:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Where you get your news is where you win.
Download the WSB app and get ready for the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
Amazing. 5 chances a day to win $5,000.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every weekday.
Are you serious?
Your next chance to win is coming up at 2 p.m.
Just enter the word at WSBRadio.com or on the WSB Radio app.
Oh, no.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
On 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
This is London. London calling in the home, overseas and European services of the BBC and through United Nations Radio Mediterranean. And this is John Snagg speaking. Supreme Headquarters, Allied Expeditionary Force, have just issued communique number 1, and in a few seconds I will read it to you. Under the command of General Eisenhower, Allied naval forces, supported by strong air forces, began landing Allied armies this morning on the northern coast of France. I'll repeat that communique. Communique number 1. Under the command of General Eisenhower, Allied naval forces, supported by strong air forces, began landing Allied armies this morning on the northern coast of France.
This is Alan Melville, Dispatch 13, 2100 hours, 6th of June, from the beach west of Ouistreham. The paratroops are landing. They're landing all around me as I speak. They've come in from the sea, and they're fluttering down, red, white and blue parachutes fluttering down, and they're just about the best thing that we've seen for a good many hours. They're showering in, there's no other word for it, pouring in 3s and 4s, and they're fluttering down in perfect formation, just the way we've seen it on the newsreels, the way we've seen it done in exercises, and here they're doing it the real thing, and believe me, they haven't come any too late. There'll be a very unpleasant surprise to the enemy, who's fighting. I can still see the signs of a typical panzer battle. You can hear the aircraft roaring over me, I expect, as I speak. I can still see the signs of a typical panzer battle being raged on the slightly high ground just about 3 or 4 miles ahead of me. And these paratroops are coming down between where I'm speaking, which is just above the sand dunes. Down they come. They're being attacked pretty harshly, as you'll hear, but they're landing in great force between the sand dunes, between the beach area and the battle, and they may have a very decisive effect on that battle. Jerry is putting up to try and stave this surprise eventuality off, but he isn't able to cope. The aircraft are sweeping inland, letting go their valuable cargo, sweeping round as if nothing mattered, and tearing again out to sea. And they're still...
These are the sounds from D-Day 81 years ago on the beaches of Normandy.
The build-up is going well. I spent some hours on the beaches this morning watching men, food, ammunition and supplies come streaming in. It's a combined operation between Navy, Army and Merchant Navy. The effort is enormous. The results, in some cases, staggering. I talked to the principal beachmaster on one sector, a tall, bearded naval lieutenant commander. Our conversation was punctuated by the orders he gave to craft shouted through a loud hailer. "Keep to windward there, 1047. Keep clear of the duck entrance." Next moment, he was dictating signals to be flashed by lamp along the beach. He was answering Army officers' queries about the tide and obstructions. But he was right on top of the job. His men, Royal Naval Commandos, some of them, were busy clearing wrecked landing craft and marking with red flags new traffic lanes through the shallows. And up and down those lanes, almost as though on conveyor belts, the regular steady stream of ducks was moving. Hundreds of them. They went out emptied from the shore, changed from wheel drive to propeller a few yards out, and made tracks, or rather wakes, for the merchantmen lying 2 or 3 miles out to sea. Down the next door lane, they were coming inshore, reversing the process and driving their piled cargoes of sugar crates, tires, petrol, shells up the coast road to the depots.
To reach the palisade, I joined a column who were wading across a slough. The water came nearly to their armpits, and they had to hold their rifles and equipment over their heads. The water was rather warm, but the bottom was a slimy mess. When a man got to the far side of the slough, he would always stop in a maddening way, holding the rest of us up. We shouted angrily, but when we got there, each one of us stopped too. The reeds on the far bank were loaded with mines. One man lay at the top of the bank dead. The mines had been marked with bits of paper, and soldiers at the top advised just how to climb so as not to venture into dangerous ground. There were more dead men along the narrow path which led up the palisade. Suddenly a voice said, "Watch yourself, fellow, that's a mine." A soldier sprawled on the bank was speaking. He had 1 foot half blown out. He'd stepped on a mine a short time earlier. Now, while he waited for litter bearers, he was warning other soldiers about other mines in that vicinity. I took a last look at the greatest armada in history before going on the flat. It was too immense to describe.
The greatest armada in history, 81 years ago. This is Eric Erickson, Nationwide. The phone number 877-973-7425. The United States, Great Britain, Canada, Australia, and other allies landed 155,000 plus men on the beaches of Normandy in northern France to begin repelling back the Nazis who had swept across the European plains and mountains to conquer the continent. And we pushed them back beginning on D-Day. We had fought them in northern Africa, repelling them. We were pushing them back through Sicily and into Italy. But they had locked in northern Europe. They had taken over Denmark, the Netherlands, Belgium, France. Paris had fallen quickly. The speed of the Nazi, their blitzkrieg, had overwhelmed and shocked even Winston Churchill, who could not believe they had survived Dunkirk, all of the Allied forces on a single beach. Hitler, not being a great commander, had miscalculated. Hitler could have wiped out the entirety of the European Allied forces on Dunkirk. But he couldn't believe that all of them would be there. He was convinced it must be a trap, and he went elsewhere. Winston Churchill organized the greatest civilian armada in world history. All the civilians with boats capable of doing so sailed across the English Channel, where on a clear day you could see from Britain all the way to France. And they picked up the boys on the beach of Dunkirk, and they got almost all of them home safely to be able to fight another day. And then on that day, June 6th, we invaded. Had to climb cliffs, root out Nazi strongholds above. My uncle was a paratrooper who jumped in because of weather. Things were paused for a day, and he had to hide. Wound up being given credit, won the French award. He was credited with capturing a town. He said he didn't actually capture the town. He was given credit for it. The Nazis had fled, headed to the front to reinforce other Nazis. There is a growing sense of people on the right, the alt-right, among MAGA supporters, among some of you, that the post-war world order is aligned against our values, and that's not really so. It's a revisionism to avoid explaining that while we weren't paying attention, institutions that were set up after the war did get captured by the left and abused and used for their purposes, but that's not the way the world was done. That's not the way the world was set, and we forget to our peril what actually happened. The revisionists who revise it, you've got Tucker Carlson platforming regularly now amateur historians who take the sides of the Nazis, who tell it from the Nazi perspective, where Winston Churchill's the bad guy. You're being poisoned, some of you, and indoctrinated by those who hate the Western world order and use the excesses of progressivism to deny what actually happened. On D-Day, 81 years ago, men and boys from the West, led by the United States, stormed beaches and liberated Europe from evil. And now we have people who wish to twist the facts and claim the evil was good and the good was evil. Here is what happened after D-Day. The entire world was in collapse except for the United States of America. And we, who did not have to fight, who could have left it alone, protected by the Atlantic and Pacific, did not have to act, and we did. And what the world did afterwards, in tatters and disarray, in collapse, seeing the rise of the communists, said, "Here, United States, here are the keys to our kingdom. We entrust to you the liberty of the free world and wish for you to guard over it and be in charge of this new world order." And we said yes. And there are people today, prominent on the right and also the far left, who have said, you know what, that this world order is decadent, it is decaying, it is crumbling before our eyes, it is bad, it is filled with progressives with values we dislike. And instead of saying actually what happened is these people infiltrated in and co-opted and corrupted, we should clean it out and we should rebuild it and we should retake the reins of liberty, they say we should just step back, build Fortress America, high walls around us, let's let the world be left to its own devices. Who needs NATO? Who needs the Asian alliance? Who needs these things? The world needs us more than we need the world, and yet we're abdicating our role in the world, and that will fill a void with evil. China and Russia will creep in. China and Russia will subvert the world order. It's what they want. The communists, the Nazis, they set back the fascists. They're waiting for us to get tired and go back to sleep. The giant that slept and woke goes back to sleep, and they will make it hard for us to wake up again. Let not the legacy of the men and boys who died on the beaches of Normandy be in vain. The world set up a new world order after World War II and put the United States of America in charge. They entrusted the liberty of the world to us. And some of you look at it and say it's too decadent, it's too liberal. The progressives have infested it. Well, this is what we died fighting for. No, it's not. We should reform, we should clean house, we should do the things that Trump is doing to the cultural institutions in the United States that have abused the trust of the Western world. We should stand for liberty, and we should go back to Europe, as Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have done, and say, you have to be for free speech. You have to be for the ideas of freedom. You have to do this. but we shouldn't give up on the world. We should not allow the world to give up on us. 81 years ago, men and boys who became men that day, they climbed the beaches. They climbed the cliffs. They repelled the Nazis. They liberated a continent. They didn't build a new empire, but the world handed itself into the United States for safekeeping, knowing that we are a good people, we are a great people, and that we could preserve a free world order. And now we have new threats creeping in. We have new dangers creeping in. We have the concerns of old repackaged and now elevated by the Chinese and the Russians and the Iranians. People who do not want us to be in charge, and they were willing to fight us to be in charge, and there are too many voices here at home saying, let them have it. If we let them have it, they won't give it back to us. The world is aligned in our favor right now. The world is aligned to our benefit right now because the world trusts the United States to be fair and to deal fairly with others and to be the bastion and flag standard razor carrier fighter for freedom in the world, and we can't let the Chinese and the Russians take it. Too many people want them to take it. 81 years ago today, the Americans led the largest armada in history, stormed the beaches of Normandy, climbed the cliffs, purged the Nazis, and liberated a continent. We shouldn't forget what they did, and we shouldn't let it be in vain. We shouldn't give up the gains we made. We should instead resolve ourselves to be the leader of the free world still.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
120 Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. New crash over on the West Freeway inbound in Cobb County, I-20 eastbound, right next to Six Flags over Georgia. It is a crash in the left lane, so that is slowing the ride out of Lithia Springs. Crash cleanup continues. Been there all morning on the south side, 85 southbound, Highway 74, exit 61 in Fairburn. Right lane is blocked there, slowing you out of Union City. You can always think about Highway 29 as an alternate. In downtown, slow, 75, 85 southbound, starting at the 85-400 merge, trying to get down to I-20. Traffic brought to you by Extreme Experience. Give Dad the ultimate driving experience in a Ferrari, Lamborghini, or Porsche on a real racetrack. Extreme Experience. It's Atlanta Motorsports Park, July 10th through the 13th. Save 25% for Father's Day. ExtremeExperience.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Listening to 95.5 WSB pays.
No way!
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
That is awesome.
5 chances a day to win $5,000.
Download the WSB app. Your next chance to win is coming up at 2 p.m.
Oh my God.
From 95.5 WSB.
Did you know that eating healthier and more delicious food is not only good for you, but affordable as well? Hi, it's Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. At the Bread Beckers store in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real, delicious bread loaded with fiber and nutrients from real whole grains. A healthy, delicious, and affordable solution for your family. Eating real bread will satisfy your hunger and greatly reduce the amount of food you need to eat. Plus, your improved health from eating real bread may even reduce the need for frequent doctor visits. That's what Real Bread did for our family. 2 doctor visits with 9 kids in 25 years. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of whole grains and real bread. So if you're struggling with bowel issues, high cholesterol, weight gain, warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, take the first steps to a healthier, more affordable life. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
Belinda Skelton here with Atlanta Vision Institute's very own Dr. Ashraf, who is one of the most experienced eye surgeons in the country. Dr. Ashraf, we've all watched the news and the economy is uncertain, but failing eyesight isn't. And if you've held back due to finances, we've got good news for you, don't we?
Yes, Belinda, as you know, our eyesights degrade as we age. And with the laser optics procedure, that resets all of that. And most of my patients go most of the day without glasses. They can even read their phone without glasses. And in terms of the economy, most of these patients, their medical insurance can cover most of the costs. And if it doesn't, we have a lot of good financing options for this procedure.
That's awesome, Dr. Ashraf. I urge you to take the quiz to see if you're a candidate. Go to 2020atlanta.com. That's 2020atlanta.com.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
This is Scott Slade, and nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier the better. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you more time for you and your loved ones to take charge of your health. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. Due to overwhelming demand for a limited time, their $995 core body scan offer has been extended. It's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response to this offer that they've opened up more times in both offices, but appointments will fill up fast, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. He may not tell you what you want to hear, but he tells you what you need to hear. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
Greetings, welcome. Open Line Friday, the phone number 877-973-7425. Before I get to phone calls, I would be remiss if I did not play this audio. This is the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, commemorating the 81st anniversary of D-Day earlier today.
81 years ago, Hitler thought his Atlantic Wall was impenetrable. Many agreed. He clearly had not met enough Americans. A more daring assault had never been planned. The task was daunting, a frontal assault across the channel on beaches and cliffs strewn with obstacles and defended by heavily fortified bunkers. Our only advantage was that the enemy underestimated the strength of the Allied war cause. The invasion would include brave troops from the U.S., Great Britain, Canada, France, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Belgium, Norway, Poland, Greece, and Holland. On the ground, the French resistance covertly aided the effort. And as the troops loaded into their ships, planes, and landing craft, they received copies of an order from General Eisenhower, reminding them of the stakes of their mission. I have a copy right here. He wrote, "You are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. In company with our brave allies and brothers in arms on other fronts, you will bring about the destruction of the German war machine, the elimination of Nazi tyranny over the oppressed peoples of Europe, and security for ourselves in a free world. Your task will not be an easy one." He ends by writing, "And let us all beseech the blessings of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking."
That's Pete Hegseth speaking in Europe today, honoring the 81st anniversary of D-Day. Before we step out to break, I got to tell you about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. You can buy 3 of them, save $200, get them for less than $200 at EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3, EdenPureDeals.com. They're an air purifier, so they get rid of smoke, they get rid of dust, they get rid of pollen, they get rid of pet dander, they get rid of 99.9% of bacteria and viruses that flow through them, and they eliminate all odors. They generate ozone particles. O3 latches onto ionized particles that are called odors, and they neutralize each other. They wipe out the odors. No odor can stand up to it. I've used them in rental cars and hotel rooms. I've used it in my kitchen. It works. You make gumbo, it gets a little smoky, makes a little bit of a smell. You can put in the Eden Pure Thunderstorm, and it deodorizes the house. It works. You get 3 of them, upstairs, downstairs, your basement, your travel bag, your RV, wherever you need them. All you do, go to EdenPureDeals.com, and you put in ERIC3, ERICK, the number 3, no space, at EdenPureDeals.com. Start wiping out odors, get rid of the bacteria and viruses, get rid of the dirty air in your house, keep them in your travel bag, use them in rental cars, plug it in with a USB cord or in the wall. EdenPureDeals.com, the discount code ERIC3, ERICK3.
It's still the greatest form of advertising, word of mouth. If we could bottle it and sell it, we'd be rich. But we can't. That's what keeps it honest. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All 4 Seasons. From garage doors to entry doors to windows, for every opening of your home, we've got you covered. Talk to your neighbors. Chances are we've worked on their home. They'll tell you all about their 5-star experience with All 4 Seasons. When trust matters, trust us. All, the number 4, seasonsgarages.com.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. The search underway for a teenager believed to be missing after an empty boat is spotted circling on Lake Allatoona. The Georgia DNR's Mark McKinnon now says they're searching for 17-year-old Jackson Cole Croft of Woodstock.
We have several boats on the water for DNR, for Cherokee County. We're working with the county and also with the sheriff's office and with the fire department here.
Now, he says that searching Allatoona can be difficult because of underwater standing timber on variations in depth. The feds say 2 men in this country illegally are now behind bars, and a third is on the run after a meth lab bust in Cobb County this week.
This is at the minimum a 13-kilogram bust, as well as the discovery and disruption of an active methamphetamine conversion lab that was operating in Marietta, Georgia.
U.S. Attorney Theodore Herzberg says DEA agents also seized drugs and found 3 children at another location in Smyrna. Amid the ongoing war of words between President Trump and Elon Musk, Georgia Republican Party Chair Josh McCoon telling WSB he's not worrying about it too much.
I expect that the president and Elon will ultimately be back on the same page. They have a lot in common.
State Republicans gathering in Dalton this weekend for their convention. The field of Democratic candidates running to be Georgia's next governor officially got bigger today. State Representative Derek Jackson throwing his hat into the ring.
My wife, Camilla, and I are standing here to announce my candidacy to become the next governor of Georgia.
Jackson vowing to expand Medicaid and repeal the state's heartbeat abortion law. He joins State Senator Jason Estevez and former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms in the race for the Democratic nomination. On the Republican side, Attorney General Chris Carr is the only announced candidate, though others are said to be considering entering the race. It's 1:32.
Man's best friend, loyal, trustworthy, dependable. Aw, that's Rufus, the bulldog, the chief barking officer for Findlay Roofing, the roof guys. Hey, it's Dave Baker. For over 30 years, Findlay Roofing's been your roof's best friend. They're the perfect match for your roof. Findlay is loyal with a lifetime warranty, trustworthy with upfront pricing, and dependable with the highest quality work. When you're not seeing Rufus on Findlay Roofing trucks, billboards, and TV commercials, he loves playing games like Fetch and Tug of War. But Rufus knows that if you play games with your roof, you'll lose every time. You'll always win with Findlay. They're the extra effort experts, making sure you have a remarkable roof replacement experience. When it comes to your roof, think of Rufus and Findlay first. 0% financing available. Schedule your free roof analysis, no obligation, no charge at FindlayRoofing.com.
At Shane Company, we love a spring engagement, but you might be wondering, how do I find the perfect engagement ring? As a trusted family jeweler since 1929, we get asked this a lot. We have a wide selection of ring settings, like vintage designs with romantic details, floral settings inspired by nature, and classic styles with clean lines and sleek metals. Dreaming of the most beautiful diamond you've ever seen? At Shane Company, we handpick only the sparkliest center stones in all shapes and sizes, from oval to round to marquise and more. We have gorgeous natural and lab-grown diamonds at competitive prices, in-store, ready to compare side by side. Drawn to certain colors? We're known for our rainbow of vivid natural sapphires, including shades of blue straight out of a fairy tale, handpicked by our owner, Tom Shane. At Shane Company, we have the best free lifetime warranty that includes the center stone, plus resizing, repairs, and cleanings for life. Visit us at shaneco.com or in store. No appointment necessary. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Just a word of wisdom from your friend Mark Aram. A damaged roof doesn't always lead to an entire roof replacement project. As a full-service Atlanta roofing company, my friends at Dr. Roof offer comprehensive roof repairs that will lengthen the lifespan of your existing roof and ensure that it will continue to protect your home as it should. It's storm season. Get peace of mind from my friends at Dr. Roof. They've been in business for over 35 years, and Dr. Roof offers up to a 5-year warranty on roof repairs. Get all the info online at drroof.com.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams.
Still got this left lane crash out in Cobb County, 20 eastbound past Riverside Parkway, exit 46. Downtown getting a little slow, 75-85 north Langford Parkway. Trying to make your way up to Peachtree Pine Street toward Midtown. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 88. Watching for thunderstorms to develop closer to midnight.
More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, conversationalists. It's Eric Erickson here across the nation. The phone number of this open line Friday, 877-973-7425. Let me go to the phones here. Lewis, you're going to be up next. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Eric, I got a question. You were talking about how the Chinese can hear and see what we're doing. If that's the case, then what happened to the right to privacy between you and the person that you're paying for phone service for?
I'm sure the terms of service have fine print that for hacked things it doesn't apply. But it's a problem. I mean, the Chinese are collecting all this data and they can't figure out how to get them out of our telecom systems. It's a real problem, and I wouldn't be surprised if at some point there is a class action lawsuit about this. The problem is this, and this gets to why the lawsuit probably won't go very far. It's a national security issue. You can't be told how infested they are. And I know you can't be told how infested our telecom system is because I've asked members of the U.S. Senate, and they tell me that it is classified information. And if it's classified information, it's not going to come out in a lawsuit, and therefore you're not going to be able to make the case. But it would be very interesting for someone to file that class action lawsuit. Now, for those of you who don't know what Lewis is talking about, brought this up the other day. The Chinese have so deeply infested our telecom infrastructure in this country that the FBI is advising celebrities, members of Congress, the president, and others to use iMessages or WhatsApp for communication, or Signal. That's one of the funny things about the whole Signal scandal with Jeffrey Goldberg is it's the federal government itself. It was the Biden administration that actually advised government officials to use Signal. That kind of got lost in the translation of the story because of the mistake with Jeffrey Goldberg, but it was the Biden administration that recommended using Signal. If you're Apple device to Apple device and you have blue chat bubbles, your messages are secure. If they're green, they're interceptable. If you're on an Android device and you're using just standard text messaging, your text messages are unsecure and susceptible. If you're using WhatsApp or Signal, you're protected because of the end-to-end encryption. See, the Chinese infiltrated our telecom infrastructure, and end-to-end encryption means you need your actual phone to be able to encrypt the message, that if it flows through the wires and are captured through the wires, they can't understand what your message says. But if you're unencrypted and Android SMS and RCS messages tend to be less encryption, they're easy to hack if they're encrypted. It's different from iMessage, Apple device to Apple device, or WhatsApp or Signal. Those are encrypted end to end. The level of invasion by the Chinese is so deep, we've given up trying to get them out. In fact, privately, I'm being told by certain members of the Senate that we're essentially building a new infrastructure for private messages for the government because we can't root them out. Dealing with the Chinese is a problem. The Chinese are deeply invested in disrupting us. And, there are real concerns about our water infrastructure as well. A lot of water authorities in the country are using Windows 3.1 or Windows 98. We're on Windows 11 now, which is a much more advanced, more secure platform. I don't particularly understand it anymore. I'm a Mac guy. When my son, he's got a computer from Vision Computers, he uses Windows 11. I make him call them. I'm like, I don't know anymore. If you can get me to the C prompt, I can figure it out. Those of you who know, boy, that just dated me. Philip, don't ask. But there are water authorities in the country that are using Windows 98, Windows NT, Windows 3.1. Windows 3.1 was like the first real Windows system that was commercially available. It's ancient from the 90s, and their water authorities still use it. It's extremely hackable. And there are malicious individuals who have acted. You know what the North Koreans are doing? This one's wild to me. The North Koreans are getting hired as computer programmers, taking remote job contracts with companies that don't know they're hiring the North Koreans. Big exposés, the Wall Street Journal last week. The North Koreans are getting on Indeed.com, Monster.com, the other job boards, and they're looking for companies that are hiring remote workers for internet services. And they're masking themselves, pretending to either be South Koreans, Japanese, Chinese, or Europeans. They're working remotely. They're masking their locations with VPN, so you think they're in Seoul instead of Pyongyang. Or somewhere, the Philippines, Japan, somewhere. And they're getting jobs. And once they get into the system, they're loading the systems up with malware that report everything back to the North Koreans to steal trade secrets and other information and undermine our infrastructure, our digital infrastructure. And a couple of companies have now come forward with a very novel way of getting rid of the North Koreans. They ask questions of the North Koreans. Just how fat is Kim Jong-un? Just how fat is Kim Jong-un? Explain just how ugly Kim Jong-un is. Explain why the North Korean country is a bad country. None of them will answer the questions. Because you don't want to say Kim Jong-un is fat. And if you get defensive, I mean, the guy's fat. Takes one to know one, I realize. But seriously, I mean, the guy is fat. And if the North Koreans say he's fat because in North Korea he is alleged to not be fat. And if you acknowledge he's fat, if you guess his weight wrong, you're going to die. Your family is going to die. If you write badly about the North Korean state and why it's a terrible country, you're going to die. Your family will be fed to the wood chippers. You know what his favorite means of execution is? Kim Jong-un's favorite means of execution is tying you to a stake in the middle of the soccer stadium in Pyongyang and letting them launch grenades at you from multiple angles. That's what he does. And that'll be you and your family. And what's happening is these tech companies are realizing that if they ask these questions that presuppose a negative answer on North Korea, the North Koreans don't apply for the job. But a lot of companies haven't caught on yet. And so the North Koreans are infesting our infrastructure. The Russians are. The Belarusians are. There are armies of hackers now trying to get into our outdated systems. Plenty of corporate America has run afoul of this. Plenty of major corporations have had to pay Eastern European hackers to release their systems. But some of the hackers aren't there for money. Some of the hackers are malicious, and they don't want you to know they've hacked in. The Chinese are deeply infested into our telecom infrastructure. It's a real problem. It's a real problem. Now, I could talk ad nauseum about it, but there's a story I want to call your attention to from the Free Beacon. It's about the communists that have infiltrated our academia, except it's not the Chinese communists, it's the Americans. This is from Aaron Sabarium at the Free Beacon. The Harvard Law Review retaliated against a student editor for allegedly leaking documents to the Washington Free Beacon and demanded, as part of the journal's disciplinary process, that he request their destruction, according to emails obtained by the Free Beacon. The demand came as the Law Review was under a document retention order stemming from multiple federal probes, raising questions about whether the journal was also trying to interfere with a government investigation. The Justice Department told Harvard on May 13th that it was investigating reports of racial discrimination at the journal, according to the New York Times. A week later, the Law Review instructed a student who was cooperating with the government in that investigation, Daniel Wasserman, to round up the documents he'd allegedly shared. The journal told Wasserman to request that any parties with whom you have shared confidential materials delete or return them to the review. The instruction conveyed by the Law Review's disciplinary committee on May 20th came as the journal was investigating Wasserman for allegedly leaking documents to the Free Beacon, whose report of the Law Review's racial preferences had triggered probes by the Department of Education and the Department of Health and Human Services, in addition to the Justice Department. People who participate in such probes are protected from retaliation by federal law. But 2 days after the journal asked Wasserman to round up documents, it informed him he would be receiving a formal reprimand in his Law Review file. This formal reprimand informs you that your actions violate Law Review policies and do not reflect our community expectations. The journal's disciplinary committee wrote on May 22nd, continued violations may give rise to additional disciplinary proceedings. The reprimand was retracted 5 days later after the Justice Department accused the Law Review of retaliating against Wasserman and instructing him to destroy the evidence, according to the New York Times. Jason Torchinsky, a former official in the Justice Department Civil Rights Division, said that the journal's actions verged on witness intimidation and could get the Law Review in even deeper trouble with the government. What do they call it when a criminal tries to intimidate the witness, Torchinsky said. If you know someone is a witness in a federal investigation and you try to intimidate them into stopping cooperation with the government, that in itself is its own offense. You know, so I saw a guy write a piece in the LA Times today who is not a Trump fan. In fact, he used it as a way to go after Donald Trump, but he pointed out in the piece that Trump has a way of exposing problems in the United States. Now, he didn't like it. He said essentially makes those problems worse. But Donald Trump has a way of exposing problems in the United States. And one of the problems is our elite academic institutions have become pervasively hostile to the ideas that make this country great. They're riddled with anti-Semitism, racial discrimination, and biases. And by the way, you know, the Supreme Court yesterday unanimously, Ketanji Brown Jackson, writing the decision, said there's no such thing in the United States as reverse discrimination. That's right. There's no such thing as reverse discrimination. There is just a discrimination. And it doesn't matter whether you're white or black, straight or gay, transgender or sane. If you feel you've been discriminated against, you don't have a higher standard based on your class of existence on proving it. It's just discrimination. And Harvard and Yale and Princeton, Dartmouth, Northwestern, Northeastern, University of Pennsylvania, down to even some wackadoo state schools, they've lost the plot on what it means to be great as an American, and they're deeply hostile to the sentiment of Americans. And it's not just the Ivies. A University of Wisconsin graduate student has pronounced that Christianity is not anti-trans, and there are early church saints who prove it. That's right. Sarah Beringer said scholars have identified at least 34 transgender saints. Based on these stories, I argue that Christianity has a transgender history to pull from and many opportunities to embrace transness as an essential part of its values. She teaches literature courses at the University of Iowa. Her dissertation is titled Transmasculine Narratives in Medieval Literature. Oh, guess what? You go looking for something you want to find, I bet you're going to find it. She claims that several Catholic saints were either transgender or queer in medieval times. Right. We have humored the insane for too long. We've allowed the insane to take over academic institutions, and they're using their power to shut out normalcy. They're treating normal as deviant and deviant as normal. Donald Trump is right, and it's time to clean up these academic institutions. You know, the Obama administration tried to go after Hillsdale College because Hillsdale was, well, not willing to comply with the insanity of the left. Hillsdale College stands up for common sense. Hillsdale College stands up for American values. Hillsdale College stands up for academic excellence. It's actually harder now, according to a number of college recruiters, to get into Hillsdale than it is to get into Harvard. If you want to see what sets them apart, you've got an opportunity to take classes from Hillsdale College for free. You get a certificate of completion. You go to ericforhillsdale.com. ERICK, ericforhillsdale.com. You go sign up at Hillsdale College, and you can take some of their classes for free. They're video lectures. You do it at your own pace. Each of them have individual episodes for these lessons. The total class may be 12 hours, maybe 9 hours. They're on things like capitalism or the works of C.S. Lewis or Shakespeare or the Bible or the founding of the American Republic or the rise of the Roman Empire. You take these classes, you learn about a subject you're deeply interested in. They provide you great insight. It's education. It's not indoctrination. You go to ericforhillsdale.com, ERICK, ericforhillsdale.com. Sign up today. Build a relationship with Hillsdale College. See what sets them apart. See why they're unique. See why this is an uncompromising institution committed to academic excellence at ericforhillsdale.com.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
150 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Left lane still blocked with this crash on the West Freeway, 20 eastbound past Riverside Parkway, exit 46. You're slow out of Lithia Springs from Thornton Road. New travel advisory up in Swanee. Crash 85 northbound, Highway 317, exit 111. 2 right lanes are blocked. You're slow from Sugarloaf Parkway. Satellite Boulevard will get you around that. Traffic brought to you by Extreme Experience. Give Dad the ultimate driving experience in a Ferrari, Lamborghini, or Porsche on a real racetrack. Extreme Experience hits Atlanta Motor Sports Park July 10th through the 13th. Save 25% for Father's Day. ExtremeExperience.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
When traffic
No
hits,
traffic getting through in either direction.
the Triple Team Traffic Center has you covered.
Even the bridge over 75 is being held.
Your source for Atlanta's traffic.
Traffic out of Spaghetti Junction along 285 westbound and a crash on Peachtree Boulevard 141 southbound before 285.
Brought to you by the Cool Ray Lifetime Parts and Labor Warranty.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Market volatility isn't slowing down. If you're nearing retirement, now is not the time to wait and see. Every day of uncertainty can put your future at risk. It's time to diversify. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I want you to know you can create certainty, locking in guaranteed income for life. This means predictable, stable cash flow, even in turbulent times. You've worked too hard to leave your retirement to chance. Right now, there are options to receive up to 30% upfront or annual growth of up to 10% for retirement income. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't wait. Call 404-390-4000. That's 404-390-4000.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Any examples provided are hypothetical. Annuities are issued with prospectus and sales brochures and should be reviewed carefully before funding as features and benefits vary. DBA in most states as Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
Summer is almost here, and let's be real, your house looks like it's been hiding under a pile of pollen, doesn't it? Just like mine, and that dirty driveway. Ooh, not fooling anybody either. That's why I called Wise Guys Pro Wash. They gave me a quote, showed up the next day, and bam, clean house, sparkling patio, and a deck I actually want to sit on. With more than 2,000 5-star Google reviews, Wise Guys is the only company I trust to get my home summer ready. Mention me, Chris Chandler, and get $70 off your next service. Book now at wiseguysprowash.com.
What if your home had everything? Fitness, fun, and total relaxation all in one place. A Bullfrog Swim Spa from Brown's Pools and Spas is the ultimate backyard upgrade. Swim or soak, warm or cool, all year round. Plenty of space to exercise, play, and of course relax without taking up the entire backyard. Right now, get financing for 120 months, an instant rebate up to $2,500, and a free zero-gravity swim spa hammock. Hurry, sale ends June 16th. BrownsPools.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
So you're losing your hair and you need a simple solution that works, but you want the best. It's Mark Aram here. Modern technology, top-rated physicians. You want something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair's completely redefined hair restoration, from the experience itself to the unmatched results they produce. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair, address them all with a simple one-day treatment in a calm, relaxed environment with experienced pros. Advanced Hair has performed tens of thousands of breakthrough advanced FUE treatments, and get this, your own natural hair begins to regrow the very next day. No one else in Atlanta can offer the advanced FUE found at Advanced Hair. Fix your hair loss today, starting with your free consultation, and you'll also get $500 off if you move forward. Call 470-660-HAIR. Refine your hairline with the team that's redefined hair restoration. And don't forget to ask about that Advanced Hair Guarantee, 470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
Get Eric's daily show prep email. Text DATA to 33777 and you'll be in the know.
Let me read you a headline. This is from KTLA in Los Angeles. Federal officials confirm a Southern California fourth grader detained by immigration officials will be deported. That's the headline. So they're pushing on social media. Here's Bill Malugin from Fox News. The headline leaves out the boy and his dad are Hondurans who illegally crossed the border in 2021 and were ordered to return to Honduras by a judge in 2022. The father appealed. His appeal was rejected. They failed to leave the United States and will now be deported together. It's just always interesting to me how they leave out such relevant details in these stories. It's like there's another story out there. A very similar story in California of he was a dreamer. They married. Trump tore their life apart. A Polish DACA recipient here since he was 6 years old, married to a U.S. citizen, must deport. He crossed the border illegally with his mother with the help of a human smuggler. That's the true story. He received DACA. He never paid to have his DACA status renewed. He is technically here illegally. What did he do? Instead of paying to re-up his DACA, he campaigned for Kamala Harris. That's the true story. The media doesn't want to actually tell you that. That again, Bill Malugin pointing that out, that this guy, you know what he did? Instead of paying the money to get his DACA status reinstated, he campaigned for Kamala Harris, hoping she would get elected so he could stay. Now he's self-deporting before he's deported because he's here illegally because he let the status lapse. He came here, paid a human smuggler to get here with his mother. Look, I'm sorry. You've been here a long time. I'm sorry. My preference is that people who have been here for 30, 40 years, they be allowed to stay, just not be given citizenship. Pay a fine. Never allowed to apply for citizenship. That's my personal preference, but that's not the law. The law is you're deported, and he had the opportunity to pay a fine and not be deported, and he chose instead to bet on the wrong horse. Now he's going to be deported. I'm sorry, but I'm having trouble sympathizing, and I got a pretty big streak of empathy and sympathy in me, and I'm having a hard time doing it in these cases. And the media is trying to make, mean old Donald Trump. But when you actually get into the facts of the stories, time and time again, you got the one case, the fourth grader is being deported because his father was told to leave the country 3 years ago. He not only declined to leave, he appealed the case. His appeal was rejected, and he still hid out. I'm sorry, no. Now, you need to go to Omaha Steaks because listen, if you screw up Father's Day, I'm not going to be sympathetic for you either because you got the opportunity to go to omahasteaks.com today and at checkout, put Eric in as your promo code and get $35 off. Already unbelievable savings at Omaha Steaks. It's Father's Day coming up. It is next weekend is Father's Day. Don't be a terrible, ungrateful child. Love your father and get him steak. You can even get dessert. They have incredible desserts at Omaha Steaks. I bet your father has a sweet tooth, too. Take care of your dad. Go to omahasteaks.com. At checkout, put Eric in as your promo code. Save $35. Minimum order required. Get him steak, seafood, chicken, pork, desserts, ready-made sides. You can feed your dad. Load up his freezer. Let him grill out. Enjoy Father's Day with your dad on omahasteaks.com. Put Eric in as your promo code at checkout for great deals at omahasteaks.com.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects, now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
It pays to have the WSB Radio app. Download it today and get ready for the Blitz.
Oh my God. The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. 5 chances a day to win $5,000.
It's the Blitz.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 2 p.m.
Oh, that's cool.
From 95.5 WSB.
Download the WSB radio app now.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB. Atlanta's news and talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. Grieving relatives of the Gwinnett County 19-year-old twins found shot to death on a North Georgia mountaintop disagree with the GBI's suicide ruling. Here's a report all new at 2 o'clock.
Saying Kadir and Nazir Lewis were stolen from them, the twins' Uncle Tiger voices doubts that their deaths on Bell Mountain were a double suicide.
There were identical headshot wounds. So when you see this, how their bodies were positioned, you know that it was execution and staged.
GBI says the brothers' internet searches included queries on suicide rates and how to load a gun.
The answers we have do not make sense at all to us.
The family demands the release of all evidence to an independent investigator. Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
89 degrees in Atlanta. Wind-induced storms arrive. Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. Happening now, the search for a missing 17-year-old on Lake Allatoona. Mark McKinnon with the Georgia Department of Natural Resources says multiple agencies are working together on the search for Jackson Croft of Woodstock.
We're all partners in this. We all have the same goal. We want to bring this family some closure. It's a very tragic situation.
The search began yesterday afternoon when a boat was spotted circling on the lake. Georgia Republicans weigh in on the war of words between President Trump and Elon Musk. Georgia Republican Party Chairman Josh McCoon says it'll blow over.
I think that this is sort of a blip on the radar, and probably in the next week or two, we'll be talking about how they're back on the same page.
State Republicans are gathering in Dalton this weekend for their convention. A meth lab bust in Cobb County leads to the arrest of 2 men in the country illegally, and federal agents are looking for a third. At a mobile home, DEA agents find an active lab with 13 kilos of meth and other materials. U.S. Attorney Theodore Herzberg says they also recovered drugs and guns at another location.
When they executed the search warrant at the Smyrna apartment, there were additional firearms that were found, specifically inside a baby's crib.
They found 3 children at that location. Peachtree City's famous alligator, Flat Creek Floyd, has died. He wandered into the highway overnight and was struck by a car.
It was best for the animal. The reptile rescue organization had to euthanize her.
Peachtree City Mayor Kim Leonard says that there's a children's book about Floyd, also a rock band that uses that name. The driver who struck Floyd did not stop, so police are looking for that individual. It is now 2:02, and this news is sponsored by Brett Becker's. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
Belinda Skelton here for Atlanta Vision Institute, and I have Stephanie with me. She's a patient of Dr. Ashraf, and Stephanie recently had the laser optics procedure. Stephanie, why did you have the laser optics procedure?
I wanted to be able to not ever use reading glasses again because I got tired of pulling my phone out of my purse when I forgot them to blow things up, and I just wanted to see.
And how was life after laser optics procedure at Atlanta Vision Institute?
Incredible. I could read the bottom of a nail polish bottle. I don't need my readers, never used them since I've had my laser optics procedure. It's been amazing.
What would you say to people who are on the fence about having the procedure?
Do you want to see?
That says it all, folks. Folks, if you want to see like Stephanie, go to 2020atlanta.com. That's 2020atlanta.com.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
And 6/22/25. New customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
I'm Chris Chandler. When you join us Monday starting at 5 a.m. for Atlanta's Morning News, Triple Team Traffic gets you to work on time, and our exclusive 5-day forecast helps you plan your week. What's next for Trump, Elon, and the big, beautiful bill? We'll have our regular Monday chat with CBS's Scott McFarland in Washington, plus breaking Metro stories and Clark Howard's great news for Georgia taxpayers. Join us for Atlanta's Morning News starting at 5 on 95.5 WSB.
It is 2:05 and time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the 24-hour traffic center.
Hey, good afternoon, Bill. And some better news for those on the West Freeway trying to head toward I-285 or even downtown. Crash cleared I-20 eastbound past Riverside Parkway, exit 46. So better news there. Crash cleanup still on the right shoulder in Fairburn, causing some brake lights. 85 southbound Highway 74, Sonoya Road, exit 61. And crash cleared in Swanee, 85 northbound at Lawrenceville, Swanee Road, exit 111. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 88. Watching for thunderstorms to develop closer to midnight.
87 in Fairburn, 84 in Lawrenceville, and 85 in Canton. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is job.
Doing a good job, good job, good job. Doing a good job.
J-O-B. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBRadio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is
Sleeping on
job.
Sleeping on job.
J-O-B.
Gotta think. Sleeping on
job.
Sleeping on job.
Join me live at 3 for the Von Hessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5.
America, it is Eric Erickson here, and this is your Open Line Friday, 877-973-7425. I keep seeing this online. Well, what does conservatism conserve? Some of you say it because you're lemmings. What is conservatism conserved? Actually, quite a lot. You know, I bring this up because I saw a story, and I would say... I suspect that Dominic Pino at National Review had no idea that he would inspire a whole monologue on what conservatism has conserved through a small piece he wrote on air travel. I want to read for you a quote from someone who is not a conservative. See if you can guess who said this. Someone sitting in a room with a pencil and piece of paper is not going to be able to figure out the proper airline rate any better than allowing the consumers and producers in a competitive marketplace to experiment with rates and service and permit those that provide the lowest rates or the best service or the proper combination to survive while the others fall by the wayside. In other words, efforts, both here and abroad, to have people guess what the market would produce if it were free to create a price are so very different in the result from what the market does produce when it is free that it becomes a kind of parody of a free market situation. And people found that it often would hurt the consumers and the producers as well compared to what would happen if you allowed the market to function on its own. This is something that the people currently advising the president and this Politburo of populists who want tariffs and the like forget. These are the words not of Milton Friedman or F.A. Hayek or Walter Williams or Thomas Sowell. They're the words of Stephen Breyer, the Justice Stephen Breyer, before he was appointed to the United States Supreme Court. One of the things Stephen Breyer did was about the only good thing Jimmy Carter did was to oversee the deregulation of the American aviation industry. Now, there are some of you right now saying, the aviation, it sucks. You're piled in, you're herded like cattle in tiny seats. You know what? You can say that, but you can afford to fly on a plane today because of deregulation. And it's a deregulation advanced with conservative ideas and conservative ideals, with belief in free market. You've got Orrin Cass and these guys in Washington these days who think that a little Politburo of populist true believers can shape the economy, micromanagement, and set an industrial policy. It's what led to the rise of heavily regulated aviation industry that priced Americans out of flying. Now, there's a revisionism here that's going on with a lot of these populists. You know, air travel used to be great. Did you see the pictures? You had big seats and you got real food on planes. Planes that actually flew lower and slower than they do today had much more turbulence, less pressurization, were less safe, and way more expensive. This got me thinking. Let me read to you. This aviation, by the way, is one of the industries in America where the actual price of a ticket today, forget inflation, the actual price of a ticket today is less than the price in the 1970s. And when you factor in inflation, it's actually declined dramatically. Aviation is one of the few industries in the world, computers are another one, by the way, where the real world price of a plane ticket has gone down. Part of the reason for crowding on airplanes is that since airlines deregulated in 1978 and then pursued in the 1980s aggressively by the Reagan administration, more people are able to afford to fly. It's one of the markets in which price has been going down over time and not just when adjusted for inflation. Tony Morley writes an Upwing newsletter. Morley quotes an article by Gail Pooley that found the price of a round-trip ticket from New York to London in 1970 was $550. Today, you can get a ticket for slightly less than that in nominal dollars. By the way, I pulled it up the other day. You get a round-trip ticket from New York to London right now after Labor Day for $330. In 1970, it was $550. Adjust that for inflation to what it would be today, would be over $1,000. And right now, today, you can get a ticket for $330 after Labor Day from New York to London round trip. Adjusting for inflation, it's far cheaper. The distance shows in the time price, or the number of hours an average person would have to work to be able to afford a ticket. In 1970, a flight from New York to London cost the average worker 140 hours of work. Today, it costs 13 hours. The time price has fallen 90.8%. For the time required to earn the money to buy one flight in 1970, you can get 10.8 flights today. That's a massive improvement. If you want a high-end flying experience, you can fly business or first class. But most people just want to get from one city to another. It's more crowded, but that's because you can afford it. It's nice to look at old pictures of people flying in the 1960s in less crowded planes, but those pictures are probably, you wouldn't have been able to be there. You can look at the pictures. You wouldn't be able to afford it. Flying through much of the 20th century, presuming you could afford the privilege, was a loud, turbulent, rattling, poorly pressurized, smoke-filled, boring saga with only a magazine or a book for entertainment. Modern aircraft fly higher, smoother, have better cabin pressure, air conditioning, and noise insulation, dramatically reducing fatigue and pressure-related discomfort, have improved radar and navigation systems to better avoid turbulence, and are frequently equipped with entertainment systems, high-speed satellite Wi-Fi, and flight tracking, unimaginable to those who were flying in the primitive days of the 1980s and 90s. One of the few areas that hasn't improved is the speed of the plane. Only nominally have planes gotten faster. They're limited by regulations over breaking the sound barrier as well as technology, and now there are companies that are making planes that can travel faster than sound for cheaper than what you could have flown on a Concorde. Globally, in 1970, airlines flew 210,000 passengers safely for every one passenger death. In 2021, they flew 18.5 million safely per one death. That's an improvement of 8,700%. The average person in 2022 would need to take a flight every day for 25,214 years before experiencing a fatal crash. In the U.S., there were 0 passenger deaths in commercial flights between 2009 and January of this year. In that time, U.S. airlines flew about 13.3 trillion passenger miles. That is, miles flown times the number of passengers, without a single death. That's the same as 535 million trips around the Earth, 28 million round trips to the moon, 143,208 trips to the sun, or 2.3 times the distance that a beam of light travels in a year. Why? The free market. The free market is not as conserved as it once was. There's been nibbling by Republicans and Democrats, but the free market has generally worked, and it's brought down the price of a ticket because of shareholder value. The shareholders of Delta, the shareholders of United, the shareholders of Southwest, they want to move the most people as safely as possible for maximum profit. And it turns out you get maximum profit by lowering the price of a ticket and allowing more people into planes that are much more fuel efficient and that go further. It's a remarkable progress, and that progress has been brought to you by the free market. It is something conservatism has largely done a good job of conserving, along with, for example, the sanctity of life. We've done a great job advancing, getting rid of Roe v. Wade. We've advanced the rights to you to own a gun. There are people complaining about the conservatives on the Supreme Court the other day not taking a case on the AR-15, but the fact that you can buy an AR-15 is because conservatism conserved the right to buy a gun. Maybe not in Maryland, but in most states. And the right to a handgun is guaranteed now in the Constitution, the Heller decision, because of the conservatives on the Supreme Court. Your right to be able to pack up and move if you don't like your job and move somewhere else, that's something conservatism conserved. The right to mobility in this country. There are people who complain a lot these days. Complaining is what we do. Social media incentivizes complaining. No one wants to sing praises. No one wants to cheer. No one wants to say good things. It was like, why did conservatism conserve? Did conservatism conserve this? Why is there a drag queen story hour? Well, you weren't required to go because conservatism conserved your right as a parent to choose how to raise your child. And what is so often offered by those who say, when is conservatism conserved, is nothing. They have no ideas. They just want to complain. Some of them want greater progressivism. Look at these guys in Washington, D.C. These guys in Washington say, what is conservatism conserved, bro? They just want progressivism repackaged with social conservatism. A socially conservative progressivism. They want to upend the economy that made it cheaper than ever to fly. They want to upend the economy that made it cheaper to buy a computer than ever before. They're raising the price of your technology. They're raising the price of your iPhone with tariffs. Trying to get the manufacturing moved back to the United States where it would be too expensive for any of you to afford it. Conservatism has conserved your right to educate your child as you see fit in most places. Conservatism has conserved so much, it doesn't mean things aren't going to change. Things are always changing. Conservatism doesn't contemplate digging our heels in and saying this far, no further. That's not conservatism. That's regression. But people don't care. They're trying to twist and poison your brain on these issues because they're trying to advance something that is explicitly progressive. The people who ask what has conservatism conserved are explicitly progressive in one way or another, and they're trying to undermine your faith in institutions. A lot of the experts in these institutions, implicitly so, were never conservative to begin with. They wanted to undermine your faith, your trust, your confidence, so that once it was shattered, the world could be made new. And many of the guys, and by the way, it is mostly guys who do this, they actually want to smash apart the Western ideal. They say it's broken, it's poisoned, it's corrupted. But what do they want in its place? They want something very regressive. They want themselves to be in charge because they don't trust you to be in charge of your life. That's what a tariff is. It's why a tariff isn't conservative, because it's actually the government telling you what you can and cannot buy. It's very progressive. Progressivism wants to control your life. Progressivism wants to tell you what you can and cannot do, what you can and cannot buy. That's what a tariff does. A tariff is progressive because a tariff tells you that your choices are going to be penalized by the government if you choose in a way the government doesn't want you to choose. Conservatism understands that individuals working at arm's length transactions actually make decisions that are best for themselves, getting the government out of the way. We got the government out of the way of air travel in this country, and what happened? More people can fly now, and it's cheaper, real world cheaper. Not even just because of the rate of inflation. It's actually cheaper today to fly round trip from London to New York than it is in the 1970. Dollar for dollar. Yeah, it's uncomfortable and it's cramped, but you can afford it. It's progressivism that drives up costs. Conservatism, the support of the free market, has actually improved your life meaningfully. The world has progressed. We have advanced. We have evolved. But what has conservatism conserved? A great deal, actually. A great deal. And there are a lot of these guys on social media who just would prefer you not to be able to see it, because they want something entirely regressive. They want to be in charge of your life and tell you what you can and cannot do. Conservatism gives you the choice.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
219 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. All lanes blocked and reopened on the west side, outer loop in Cobb, just south of Smyrna, 285 southbound, South Atlanta Road, exit 16. They got a stall off to the right there. Seeing the Friday brake lights into downtown, heading southbound from the 85-400 merge down to North Avenue. Northbound delays starting to fill up as well from University Avenue, getting up past I-20. Traffic brought to you by the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. That 2025 FIFA Club World Cup is coming to Atlanta. Get ready for a global soccer showdown at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Don't just watch history, be there. Get tickets at FIFA.com/tickets. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is job.
Doing a good job, good job, good job. Doing a good job.
J-O-B. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBRadio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is job. J-O-B. Job. Join me live at 3 for the Von Haessler Doctor, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5.
Dave Baker here for Ben Hill Renovations. Look, I know what's important to you when you're having some additions done to your house. You want the work done with quality workmanship, on time, within your budget, and built correctly. That's why I love Ben Hill Renovations, my deck experts. Getting a new deck from Ben Hill Renovations checks all the boxes. They've been building decks for over 60 years. Every project comes with a dedicated project manager and is properly built with future county and city code requirements in mind. Plus, Ben Hill Renovations offers many options, different styles, types of wood, color, and finishes. They can also build screened-in porches, outdoor living areas, multi-story wraparounds, pretty much anything you can imagine Ben Hill Renovations can do. And they're all backed by the Ben Hill Workmanship Warranty. Set up a design consultation or swing by the new Ben Hill Renovations showroom in Douglasville and talk to one of their designers, or see them on the web at bhrenovations.com. Ben Hill Renovations, creating raving fans since 1964.
If you've been taught that all bread is unhealthy, I'm here to tell you not if it's real bread. Hi, I'm Sue Becker from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. If you're struggling with weight gain, high cholesterol, constipation, even warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, come visit us at the Bread Becker store in Woodstock, where we have taught thousands of customers that real bread might be their healthy solution. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of real whole grains and bread. I discovered that store-bought bread has had most of the nutrients in the grain removed during milling, and yes, even packages labeled 100% whole wheat. Make a healthy eating change in your life at Bread Beckers in Woodstock. We'll show you how bread, but only real bread, might be the answer to your family's physical ills. The Bread Beckers. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
The integrity this company has is amazing. They are just unbelievable, start to finish.
Meteorologist Glenn Burns loves his Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows from North Georgia Replacement Windows.
They made everything so easy. The planning, the installation was flawless. Just a perfect job, and now it just made such a difference in the house.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
Hope. It's more than a word. It's a breakthrough in the making. At City of Hope, we're pushing the boundaries of science, targeting cancer at the molecular level, with teams of experts working together to personalize a treatment plan right down to your DNA with unprecedented speed, making every second count, with appointments in as little as 24 hours. City of Hope, advancing cancer care at life-saving speed. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
So, here's a thought. What if selling your house meant you didn't just get paid once, but twice? Sounds nice, right? That's exactly what Orchard does. Hey, it's Eric Von Hessler, and I'm telling you, this is different. Orchard gives you cash up front from your current home, so you can go ahead and buy your next one now. No stress, no where are we going to live in the meantime drama. And while you're moving in, getting cozy, arguing over where the couch goes, Orchard is busy getting your old place ready to sell. They handle the cleanup, the fix-ups, the showings, even upgrades that can raise the price. And here's the kicker. When it sells for more, which happens a lot, you get that extra money too. So yeah, first payday comes when you buy, second one comes when your old place sells. Not bad, right? Want to check it out? Just head to orchard.com. That's orchard.com and get a free home valuation. No pressure, just a smarter, easier way to move. That's Orchard.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Greetings, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. Let's take some phone calls this open line Friday, 877-973-7425. Lou, going to go to you first. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
What's going on?
Well, you were talking about D-Day and Operation Overlord. My daddy was a B-24 co-pilot. He flew in D-Day, and he kept a diary, and I thought it might be interesting just to share a few sentences from his experience that day.
Please do.
Okay. He said, we didn't go to bed last night. We briefed at 11:45 and took off at 3:25 and hit the French coast. And I'll just skip around. He said this group had 48 crews, and we flew 4 missions today. Colonel Stewart, that was Jimmy Stewart. Stewart was the wing ops officer, and he briefed them on all of their missions. And he said he briefed us all, and then he emphasized that we are not to drop our bombs until we have passed the coast. And then they were assigned a target on Omaha Beach. He said, the weather is stinking. I felt like a kid going to a circus on the Mara last night. Everyone was excited, ready to go. We never saw so many boats in my life. Looked at the channel, looking down at the channel, it was a mass of boats. And in researching, there were 2,700 boats in the English Channel. So that's how he described that. We saw them shelling the coast from way out, but it was so undercast we couldn't really get any breaks in the weather. He said, this is really an experience, history in the making, and I was one of the first bunch to go over this morning. Wouldn't have missed it for anything. And he goes on down and says at the beginning when Jimmy Stewart was briefing them, he read General Doolittle's message, and then he briefed them on their first way that they were to go. Wow. I just thought that'd be interesting.
Yeah, look, I forgot until you said it that Jimmy Stewart was involved with it, but that's right, he was. He became chief of staff to the 2nd Combat Wing and the 2nd Air Division of the 8th Air Force. He would,
Yeah.
Gosh, that
he briefed them on most of their missions, and I know at one point in the diary he talks about having the duty. And Jimmy Stewart Daddy was 22 when he flew in D-Day, but Jimmy Stewart was a lot older, so he can remember having the duty one night with Jimmy Stewart, and he said, I just couldn't relax. I just wanted to watch everything he did. And Jimmy Stewart finally said, son, you go on over there to that bunk and go to bed. I've got to stay up all night getting ready to brief in the morning. And Daddy said he never closed his eyes. He just watched. He was in
I bet
awe.
so, because people forget he was a famous actor before. He was in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington there in 1939 before the war.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Philadelphia
yeah.
story happened before he went to war as well. Lou, I'm out of time. I appreciate you calling and sharing. That's
okay.
fantastic. Thank you for that. It reminds you of these guys, 22 years old, flying B-24s over the beaches, dropping bombs at Omaha Beach. Just amazing history. Just amazing history. Now, I got to tell you about Swiss America because, the Basel III regulations are going to go into effect very soon, and it's causing gold prices to go up as central banks around the world are loading up on gold. It's one of the hedges against inflation. You've also got the BRIC nations are now looking at the way to get around the dollar as the reserve currency is not to designate China or Russia as a reserve currency, but to trade in gold. That's also causing problems. And then, of course, these new Basel III regulations, there's such thing as paper gold. It's kind of a certificate that I own gold, and it's not necessarily backed by the same value of gold as the certificate is worth. And the new regulations say it needs to be at least 85% backed, causing all sorts of turmoil in the markets right there. How do you get ahead of this? How do you safeguard your retirement? Well, you reach out to my friends at Swiss America. For 40 years, they've been the trusted leader in precious metals in this country. Call them or text them at 800-289-2646. Tell them Eric sent you. You can just text my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 800-289-2646. Let Swiss America explain what's going on to you. If you're interested in precious metals as part of your portfolio, they can help you. 800-289-2646. Get ahead of the regulations. 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply.
Oh, popsicle drips, muddy shoes, and summertime messes. Don't let them take over your home. Call Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Zerorez uses their ZR water technology, no dirt-attracting soaps, no harsh chemicals, just a truly clean, healthy home. Right now, take advantage of their summer sale. Get 15% off all services, that is carpets, air ducts, rugs, tile, and more, all 15% off. Just mention Chris Chandler or book now at ZeroResAtlanta.com, and yeah, they do commercial cleaning too. Zerorez, all they leave is clean.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. At this hour, rescue team searching for a 17-year-old missing on Lake Allatoona. The Georgia Department of Natural Resources identifying the teen as Jackson Croft from Woodstock. Crews were called to the lake around 5:30 Thursday afternoon when people called to report a boat spinning in circles. Family members of twin brothers found shot to death at Bell Mountain in North Georgia earlier this year demand answers. The teen's uncle is calling for an independent investigation.
The release of all evidence and arrest for those responsible.
The GBI ruled the deaths a suicide. Investigators say the 19-year-old brothers did internet searches for information on suicide and how to load a gun. Crews are working at this hour to repair a water main break in Dunwoody. It's knocked out water service to some folks in the area of Chamblee-Dunwoody Road and Harris Circle. Nearby resident Bill Reese says he woke up and realized he had no water.
When you want to wash your hands or take a shower, you can't do anything. So I put some clothes on and walked up here to see why we're having this problem again.
He says his neighborhood experiences a main break like this at least once a year. It's a 6-inch line that's broken. No word on when the road will reopen. If you order something from Walmart, it may arrive by drone. The nation's largest retailer says it'll begin drone deliveries at 100 stores across 5 cities, including Atlanta, Charlotte, North Carolina, and Orlando. It is 2:32. This news is sponsored by FGA Roofing.
Insurance companies often have a basic strategy: delay, deny, defend. Some try to grind you down, but they have another tremendous weapon, a software called Colossus. They know which attorneys are great and which are not so great. They know who is likely to take the last offer and who will take them by their scalp, kicking and screaming to trial. They know that they have to pay some firms early and fairly. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. The insurance companies have done their homework. Before you hire a lawyer for your injury case, do yours. Visit forthepeople.com and see our settlements and verdicts for cases like yours. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason. When you hire the wrong firm, you may be beat before you start. All law firms are not the same. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Morgan & Morgan Atlanta, 191 Peachtree Street, Atlanta, Georgia. Dial # law. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
The guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate's the easiest way to sell your home. You can save time, make the most money, and eliminate the hassle this summer. Hi, this is Mark Spain, and our offers are the strongest in the industry. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home and skip the hassle of constant cleaning and costly repairs. There's no showings, no open houses, and no stress. Our guaranteed offer keeps you in control. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
At 2:34, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Just found a new stall in DeKalb County, southeast leg of the perimeter. It's in the left lane, 285 eastbound, the outer loop, Flat Shoals, exit 48. Starting to see some delays fill in there. Already jam-packed through downtown, southbound from the 85-400 merge. And checking on possible new trouble on the Beaver Spring connector northbound up around Sydney Market. Is already very slow, almost back toward Peachtree. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 88. Watching for thunderstorms to develop closer to midnight.
Not a complete washout for the weekend, but any storms that move through may be strong to severe with damaging winds, the main impacts. Right now, it is 85 in Woodstock, 86 in Snellville, 88 in Riverdale. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
Smart, fearless, and occasionally funny. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Hello and welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, would be happy to have you. I want to go to Jim holding on the phone. Welcome, Jim. How are you?
I'm fine. Well, in answer to the question, what do conservatives conserve? I was once confronted with that when a friend heard me talking about the environment and my concern for it. And she said, well, just to tease me, she said, well, Jim, hearing you talk about the environment that way might lead someone to think you're a liberal. I just looked at her and I said, well, let's just say I'm a conservative who conserves. And she looked back at me and her head just kind of bumped up like she just slapped her head. And she had no response for that. I thought, well, that's what we conserve.
You know, I'm glad you said that because I make this point regularly that it is, first of all, I mean, being a Christian, we're supposed to be good stewards of the environment, but we are to conserve. I do what I can to conserve. I'm just not going to bend over backwards and bow to these radical environmentalists who think that we're supposed to put the planet before ourselves. I think the planet's here for us. Now, I got to say, related to that, I need you guys to know, Greta Thunberg, we've got a sighting of Greta Thunberg. She's doing interviews on her sailing vessel as she heads towards Gaza. Interestingly enough, the maps they're releasing don't say they're sailing to Palestine, but to Gaza and Israel. And Greta Thunberg it's amazing to me how these people embrace all the causes. She's now big on the Palestinian cause, big on Pride Month, big on the trans cause, kind of mutually incompatible causes, but she doesn't seem to care. And she is headed more and more down the path of radicalism. We're going to find her get more and more radical because it's how she gets attention, and attention is a drug for her, and she's convinced the world is going to end anyway. So be it. It's wild to see she is following the most predictable path into radicalism of anyone I've seen in a while, and you just see where this is going to head. It's only a matter of time. Now back to the phones. Michael, you're up next. Welcome to the show, Michael. How are you?
Hi there, sir. How you doing?
Great.
I wanted to talk about the national debt just for a moment. I went to a website called thebalancemoney.com and got some data, and it's the data of the national debt from 1929 to the present time. And I'm a retired engineer, and so I'm familiar with using mathematical tools to look at data. And so I plotted the year on the x-axis and the debt in trillions on the y-axis, and then I did a curve fit to it, and it pops out an equation. And what really scared me was you get a measure of how good your curve fit is by what's called a correlation coefficient.
Mm-hmm.
A 1.00 correlation coefficient would be a perfect curve fit. This one came up at like 0.99 something, which is basically a textbook curve, 99.59% accurate. The gist of it, though, is this. You get an equation out that you can use and just plug the data in, and it'll tell you what the national debt is. So I plugged in 2030, 5 years from now, and the number that it spit out was $60.41 trillion. I'm all for the big, beautiful bill, but they got to take a knife to it and cut the meat out of it.
Michael,
so that was what I wanted to talk about.
Look, that's well said, and you're right. And there's growing concerns in the Senate now that there's got to be some greater reform to the legislation because it's not now. Here's the thing: the White House is saying this isn't a spending bill; it's a reconciliation bill, and they're right, except they're spending money in it. And the Democrats used their reconciliation bill to pile in the Green New Deal. And I think Republicans need to consider that and get rid of a lot of the tax credits stuff. They have an opportunity with reconciliation to reform portions of the tax code to change the direction, and I don't think they're doing it enough. And it is going to hurt us economically. We are going to get to the point where the interest on the national debt so overwhelms the country we can't afford the rest of the budget. And y'all, it's a serious national security problem. How can we take on the Chinese? How can we deal with the Russians? How can we deal with these international threats with the debt like it is? You know, several members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff have been asked what our greatest national security threat is, and they've said the debt. They've said the debt. And it's true. The debt is the biggest issue we've got out there right now. And it's going to be problematic. Now, you should know that Phil Swagel is the academic economist who runs the Congressional Budget Office. He's not a Trump fan, by the way, not really a big fan of Republicans. Let me read you this from the Wall Street Journal. Swagel, mild-mannered academic economist, runs the Congressional Budget Office, the fiscal scorekeeping agency, getting blasted by Republicans as they try to push their tax and spending megabill through Congress by July 4th. They say CBO is too pessimistic on economic growth and tilts against the GOP. This week alone, President Trump called CBO a very hostile organization run by Democrats, said the bill will increase deficits $2.4 trillion through 2034. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise described CBO as a referee that tries to sack our quarterback. Russ Vought, the White House budget director, charged the CBO used an unrealistic gimmick to analyze the budgetary effects of the Republican legislation, and John Thune says the CBO has a long history of just being flat out wrong. The attacks are coming from so many directions, and kind of misleading talking points have been picked up so widely, Swagel said during an hour-long interview. You come into the job, you know that we're going to be in the middle of things, but it still is kind of a phenomenal when it happens, even if you know intellectually it's just part of the process. Swagel worked in the Treasury Department under George W. Bush. Says his history in Republican policy circles helps him understand CBO's current crisis. Swagel dismissed White House criticisms of donations by some CBO staffers to Democrats, saying he doesn't believe it affects the agency's work. Right. He said he's not going to go around and police people's contributions, $15 contributions. Look, the CBO gets a lot wrong, and the CBO doesn't believe in dynamic scoring, and that's part of the problem. The Congressional Budget Office doesn't really factor into the fact that if you cut taxes and deregulate, it frees up money for corporations to invest and stimulate the economy. That grows the economy, that generates more tax revenue, and the CBO doesn't really do that. They do a rudimentary paper analysis. Interestingly enough, by the way, if you do factor in the tariffs, the actual $2.4 trillion deficit increase actually becomes a $500 million surplus. Did you know that? Have you heard that? Here's the problem. Under the rules of reconciliation in the Senate cannot factor in the external tariff revenue. The House could. I've been telling you the president wanted to keep tariffs. Part of my working theory was I look like I'm wrong because he just actually likes tariffs. But the House could use the revenue padding. The Senate can't. I didn't realize the Senate couldn't. But also, it looks like the president's going to keep the tariffs, not just to pad the numbers. The Senate's got to use just the revenue generated by the legislation. Part of the reason is because the tariffs are executively imposed, and so they can be executively undone, and the Senate rules can't contemplate them. This is from the Wall Street Journal. This week's $2.4 trillion deficit estimate includes $1.7 trillion in spending cuts and other savings, along with new tax cuts and spending on border security and defense. This is all outweighed by extensions of the 2017 tax cuts beyond their December 31st expiration. The Congressional Budget Office assumes that they expire, so continuing them counts as increasing deficits. The bill reduces deficits by $1.4 trillion over 10 years when you adjust for CBO's one big gimmick, not using a realistic current policy baseline. CBO is required to assume current law for its estimates. That means assuming the tax cuts expire. But it will analyze alternatives when lawmakers ask. Swagel cited a 2021 report prepared for Republicans that showed Democrats' Build Back Better legislation would expand budget deficits if made permanent. That became a frequent GOP talking point about the legislation, which turned into the smaller Inflation Reduction Act. So here you got to understand why the CBO says it's a big deficit. The CBO is required to use the current law. The current law says the tax cuts expire December 31st. Therefore, next year tax revenue goes up. The Republicans did this to themselves. The Republicans kind of dug a hole for themselves. And here's why the Republicans dug a hole for themselves on this and why the chickens are coming home to roost now. Why did the tax cuts expire next year? Because when they were passed in 2017, the presumption was Donald Trump would have served his 2 terms in office and there would be a new president now. And it would be the new president's job to figure out the path forward. But Trump lost in 2020, and now he's back, and now he's got to deal with the fallout of the policy that was calculated on him being well and truly gone and out of the way by now. And the CBO is required by law to use the current law, which says the tax cuts expire in December, in order to make the calculations of what the new bill costs. It's not their fault, but also they could engage in some dynamic scoring as well. They just don't like to engage in dynamic scoring. But the bottom line is ultimately this. The legislation is going to pass. The legislation is deeply flawed. There are real problems with the legislation. But without it, taxes go up for all of us. Taxes go up for all of us. The talking point from the left, we're all going to die. This is Hakeem Jeffries. Here's his press conference earlier today.
People will die if the GOP tax scam ever becomes law.
People will die. That's the best the Democrats can do right now. People will die. People will die. But it's not true. You understand that, right? They were going to die because of the Green New Deal. If that got undone, they were going to die because of the president's tax cuts last time. They were going to die because we were getting rid of net neutrality. When Republicans are in power, the best the Democrats can do is say, we're all going to die. We're all going to die. We're going to be fine. And this plan is going to pass. It's not going to pass in its present plan, but it's going to pass in its present shape. It's going to pass. It's going to pass because Donald Trump needs it to pass. It's going to pass because the Republicans in Congress need it to pass. And it's very notable, despite Elon Musk trying to drum up opposition to the plan, Hardly any Republican member of Congress has had Republicans calling saying kill the plan. They've had Democrats call saying kill the plan. They haven't had Republicans calling to kill the plan because Republicans understand this is the best that they can do with a 3-seat majority in the House and a 3-seat majority in the Senate. If you want a better plan, you got to grow the majority. And if you grow the economy, you can mitigate the Democrats' possibility of sabotaging the Republicans next year in the midterms. The Democrats keep getting crazier and crazier. I personally think one of the things President Trump needs to do is when you get to sometime around Labor Day of next year, he needs to point out just how bat poop crazy the Democrats have become in the last few years. Literally, I played you the audio earlier today. You had a Democratic strategist on CNN referring to undocumented citizens instead of illegal aliens. Highlight that stuff. Show how the Democrats, they didn't move to the middle. They just got more and more insane. Now, you may be insane right now because you're dealing with a computer that just isn't working for you anymore. You could go to visioncomputers.com or call them at 404-COMPUTE and get Vision to upgrade your computer needs. In fact, Vision, so that you can figure out your new computer, they can take your existing computer, transfer everything over to a newer, up-to-date machine, and have everything set up exactly like you had it so you never skip a beat. But your computer is better, the hard drive is faster, the GPU, the CPU, they're faster, you got more memory, everything you need for a modern machine, but set up the way you wanted it. So long as everything's Windows 11 compatible, Vision Computer can do that for you. And then you get a special number at no charge to you having gotten a computer from Vision. You get a special number, you call that number, 15 seconds or less, they answer the phone, and they take care of your tech support needs. Any question, faster than a Google search, they answer for you. VisionComputers.com or 404-COMPUTE. Call Vision Computer, let them take care of you. Let's say you just need their tech support. You don't need a computer from them. If you get a computer, the tech support's free. But you need the tech support because you work at a Starbucks every day and you can't afford downtime for your graphics computing job. You're a gig economy worker, or you got a small business and you can't afford the in-house IT guy. Vision can be the IT solution for you. You get the number. Your employees can call. Vision can remote in, fix the computer, solve any problem, printer support, email support, whatever you need, for just $179 a year. Less if you tell them I sent you. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. Let Vision take care of all your computer needs.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
250 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Got some trouble down in the Clarkston area. Scottsdale, 285 southbound, the Interloop Memorial Drive, exit 41. Police holding 2 right lanes now for a stall that's in the center lane. You're stacked up back to La Vista Road. Wouldn't suggest downtown as an alternate because that's a slow one as well, heading southbound from the 85-400 merge, getting down to Cortlandt Street, Beaver Spring Connector. Also very slow trying to leave Midtown, heading up toward Buckhead. Traffic brought to you by Purple Mattress. Purple mattresses and pillows are up to 75% off for a limited time. Stop by their showroom at the outlet shops at Atlanta this weekend for amazing deals. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Listening to 95.5 WSB pays.
No way!
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
That is awesome.
5 chances a day to win $5,000.
Download the WSB app. Your next chance to win is coming up at 5 p.m.
Oh my God.
From 95.5 WSB.
When it rains, it pours right into your crawl space, and that creates that musty smell and dangerous mold growth under your house. Meteorologist Christina Upwards here for American Crawl Space Solutions. Make the smell and the water go away and stop the water from coming back. Call American Crawl Space Solutions. They're experts at keeping your crawl space dry and preventing the mold from growing in your home. Give them a call today.
American Crawl Space Solutions. Foundations too.
The big focus in America today is on your health, and more people looking beyond pills and steroids and surgery. Hey, it's Mark Aaron for QC Kinetics. At QC Kinetics, they've been on the cutting edge of this medical revolution since 2018. Using regenerative medicine, they have helped tens of thousands of people get lasting joint pain relief using natural treatments that harness your body's own healing power. The truth is, regenerative medicine used to be an alternative treatment. Now it's mainstream, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader. Their well well-respected protocols include potent and powerful cellular-level treatments to revitalize and restore damaged joint tissue. They're not masking the pain. They're going after the very source of it. Yes, you can say goodbye to that chronic pain and live your best life. Learn more about this revolutionary treatment and get a free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now. 770-285-8026. 770-285-8026. That's 770-285-8026.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Kroger brand 80% lean ground beef is on sale. 3-pound packages are only $4.99 a pound with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. If you're over 50 and tired of your wireless bill getting higher and higher, there are 4 things to consider. 1, how much data are you really using? As we get older, we use less data on our wireless phone, but you're probably still paying for an unlimited plan that was designed for 20-somethings. 2, if you see Get a Phone on Us, get your sneakers out and run the other way. No one is giving you a free phone. You are paying for that phone over time with an overpriced rate plan and a long-term commitment. 3, check the fine print on that $15 a month plan. It's probably an intro price that'll double or triple later. You might even have to pay for several months of service up front. Number 4, be aware of cable company wireless plans. Most of your usage will be on Wi-Fi instead of 5G, and your calls and battery life could suffer. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide service without the big wireless bill. Our plans start at just $20 a month.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Truth, not the talking points. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Hello there. It is Eric Erickson here. I'm actually glad that Donald Trump has done this. Don't attack me for saying nice things about the man or saying I never do. Let me read you this story. A former federal inmate who was pardoned by President Donald Trump in his first term for drug trafficking crimes more than 2 decades ago has been tapped as deputy director of the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Joshua Smith is a Tennessee businessman. He founded an inmate advocacy and rehabilitation nonprofit foundation, The Fourth Purpose. He'll be second in command in the Bureau. The Bureau of Prisons has never had a formerly incarcerated inmate work as an employee at any level. Josh brings to this role something our agency has never had before at this level, a perspective shaped by lived experience, proven innovation, and national impact, Director William Marshall III said in a memo to staff. His firsthand understanding of our facilities, of the tension, the risk, and the importance of trust make him uniquely positioned to advocate for the resources and reforms frontline staff need to do their jobs safely and effectively. Trump granted a full pardon to Smith, who had been convicted of conspiracy to possess drugs with intent to distribute. Indictments were filed in 1997 for marijuana and cocaine-related charges, and the court docket showed him pleading guilty. The court recommended he go to the Federal Correctional Institution, Manchester in Kentucky, and boot camp for a 60-month sentence, and he was set to have 5 years supervised release. I think this is actually a really, really good pick. He got involved in a church program. He found God. He started Fourth Purpose, ministering to those in prison and advocating for prison reforms to help inmates, particularly those who showed potential to get out and be reformed and get jobs. I think this is a remarkably solid pick by the President of the United States. I don't know this guy from Adam. I've never heard of him, but I saw this story, and I thought, you know what, this is good. This is the sort of thing showing reform. And, I mean, talk about an image of reform for people in federal prison. This guy can say, not only was I one of you, I got out, and now I'm the second in charge of the Bureau of Prisons. Good. Stories of redemption. I just, I think that we all like to talk about letting people out of prison and give them a second chance, but a whole lot of people get out of prison and are treated with great skepticism when they attempt that second chance. They can't start their life over. It's hard for them to start their life over. People don't want to give a second chance to someone who got out of prison, and the result is that there are now a lot of nonprofits that exist to help the rehabilitation process and find people jobs and get them working in places. And after years, they can then hopefully transition out once they're on their feet to somewhere else. But I have talked to people who have gone through programs like that, and they said 15 years later, they're applying for a job, and it comes up that they had been in prison. They have a hard time taking that next step. At some point, we got to be able to accept there are people who do find redemption, and we got to treat them as such without treating them skeptically. And this is a good example of that. And so I would commend the president for a really bold pick in this. The guy's name, again, is Josh Smith. He's from Tennessee. He's a national prison reform advocate, and he'll now be number 2 at the Bureau of Prisons. Good for the president for picking this guy. Y'all, it's Friday. I got to drive up to Gainesville, Georgia to Jim Hardman and get me a new vehicle today, trading in my old Yukon for a new one. Now I got to go hit traffic. Y'all have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
So if you are a shopper at what I've been calling $1.25 tree, well, get ready. Because of inflation and the impact of tariffs, Dollar Tree is going to sliding scale pricing that generally is going to be